Salute, salute. I gotta see what it do, y'all. Hold on, let's get this thing going, man. You know what I'm saying? First day in here, most definitely trying to see what everything looking like.
Hit that like button.
Haters gon' hate anyway, man.
Subscribe to the
This
channel.
in the lab live. Used to bake pies, now I'm on YouTube on In the Lab Live. Hit the like button, yeah, go ahead, subscribe. Ain't no telling what you see, it's gonna be a long ride. Better open up your eyes, cause we be in the bitch till 7 in the morning. Coffee in one hand and the sweet got me zoning. Blocking all the haters, shout out my moderators. They make the show greater, main reason why we made it. So up on the top, I can't see the ground. Got these niggas mad, they love when I was down. Now nigga up, and they can't tell me shit. Shout out to Scale Gang and all my people in this bitch. I got haters, I got friends, I got product, I got ends. If I ever get a plaque, I know they gon' hate me then. Still rolling in that lack slow, hotter than Tabasco. Don't matter what you buying, I can get you what you ask for. Hottest in the streets, where these niggas can't compete. We be grinding while they sleep, yeah, 7 days a week. I ain't tripping on the docks, telling niggas come box. Right, knock them out of socks, boy, you must be smoking rocks. Hey!
This in the lab live, man. Subscribe to the channel, man.
I know how I go, man. What's up, y'all? Shout out to everybody in the building. What's up, Sweet Babe? Yeah, most definitely got to get, you know what I'm saying, right to it, man. You know what I'm saying, Sweet Babe, can you hear everything? Can you hear me? You know what I'm saying? Can you see everything good? You know what I'm saying? Most definitely trying to see what it does over here on this side, man. Just something different, man. I'm tired of talking about the same old, every day, man. I'm just saying, man. Yeah, we talked about this stuff for 5 or 6 hours. It's time to move on to something else. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me know, Sweet Babe, if you can hear me. You know what I'm saying? Hear me good, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Can you hear me out there? Let me know. You know what I'm saying? And any other one of y'all 15 people that's in the building right now, can y'all hear the sound of my voice? Let me know if y'all can hear me. What's up, Miss D? Yeah, man, we getting on, we doing something else. You know what I'm saying? Most definitely doing something else. I'm just saying, man. Shout out to everybody out there. Can y'all hear me out there, man? You know what I'm saying? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Can you see everything good, Miss D? You know, this is really like a test run, real run type situation. Just trying to see, you know what I'm saying, what the dealio is. Can y'all hear me and see me out there? You know what I'm saying? Let me know if you can hear and see everything good. You know, the background, all of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if y'all can see and hear me good out there. What's up, y'all? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. What's up? Yeah, man. I ain't trying to be talking about the same old I've been talking about all day long. I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? To some new stuff pop out tomorrow or something like that. As of right now, I'm over there. Hey, Tussie, you know what I'm saying? Shout out for being a member, for the last 19 months. I most definitely appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Kick off some hip hop news. You know what I'm talking about? Sweet Babe say lights, camera, action. Yeah, absolutely, man. This is what make me great, man. Taking the opportunity to do something different, matters who shows up, who don't show up. It just is what it is. All right, hold on real quick. Now, I know y'all been hearing a lot of stuff about this Diddy documentary, man. That's all they keep on telling me about. Man, you need to check out the Diddy documentary, man. You need to go, you know what I'm saying, see what's going on, man. I heard something about 50 supposed to be receiving flowers today, and his life being in danger behind him having this footage, that Diddy was supposed to have on his own, man. Yeah. Make sure you take time to double tap that screen if you have not done so. You know what I'm saying? Most definitely double tap that screen. Hold on, let me come back in here. Let me try again. Hold on, y'all. Y'all know man, we experiment, not experiment. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I gotta see how everything is going. Yeah, make sure you double tap the screen if you have not. That's how you hit that like button. Man, we most definitely in chill. What's up, Tony Snow, man? You know what I'm saying? What's up? Yeah, this ain't the news, man. This the hip hop news, and I'm starting it out. This is my first time just trying to find something different to do, than the normal old thing. I know, everybody over here be tuned in to this this and that, but most definitely got to keep something active on the channel. So we most definitely gonna get to it. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about, man? I ate, you know, I made the background, you know, I did all this good stuff, you know, I'm most definitely about to get to it, man. So concerning the Diddy situation, man, with the 50 Cent in the documentary, y'all, what's up? Say I'm back and stronger than ever. What's up, PD? PD say I'm back and stronger than ever. What's up? Yeah, make sure you double tapping that screen, man. This is the hip hop edition of the news. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna just start coming over here from time to time, man, and doing hip hop stuff. You know what I'm saying? Stuff going on in music, rap. You know, it's always something going on. Try this, try that. You know, just trying something different, man. You know, haters gonna hate. They gonna try to imitate my style. They want to do it better than I do it. You know, this, that, and the third. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Let's get into this Diddy documentary. You know what I'm saying? That's done been dropped, man. I also got Gene Deal and Tisa Tales. You know, Tisa Tales basically saying that Diddy's lawyers are very upset. You know, about this documentary coming out, because you know they was talking about a lot of dealings, you know, things they had to do involving this case, and they were too happy that Diddy recorded it all, you know, and 50 Cent done got his hands on it and can basically expose them. I got 50 talking about, you know, him and the director lady talking about what it took to put all this together. You hear what I'm saying? Is that my Discord best friend on the screen? He said he's coming to my house. Man, look, we ain't gonna be doing none of that weird stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we ain't none of that weird. We don't do weird over here, man. I appreciate you being in here, but we ain't doing none of that. No, we don't do weird over here, man. Don't come in here talking about nobody coming to your school. That ain't what we on, man.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that most definitely ain't on what I'm on. But anyway, let's get to it, guys. Let's go ahead and cue this up so we can find out, you know, a little bit from 50 and the director lady. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna come in the hand a little bit later when we hear from Gene Deal when he tells the backstory on all of this. If you didn't know, I don't think Gene Deal appeared too many times in this documentary, and there's a reason why. You know, they was trying to get him to do it for free, and Gene most definitely was looking to get paid. But I'm gonna let him tell y'all all about that in a minute. Let's get to this right here with 50 basically explaining everything, him and the entertainment lady. I forgot her name. Let's go.
Foreseen video of Sean Diddy Combs in moments that he clearly viewed as secret, including a high-stakes call with his lawyer just days before his now infamous arrest, plus Diddy reacting in real time, new lawsuits dropped against him. Combs has publicly objected that he says the videos were, quote, stolen.
I don't like to be able to live.
Oh, did say they stolen, y'all. What's up with it? Still
take more hits than I take it. God forbid, get in front of a jury and have a chance. And so I'm having this emergency call because something has to give. I've listened. I've been a superb client, as you said. I jumped on the plane. I'm coming to New York, but I'm just running around waiting for a shoe to drop.
These new videos contribute to a critical portrait of Diddy in the documentary, which we can report tonight has now jumped the #1 for Netflix shows in the U.S. since debuting this week. Sean Combs' The Reckoning tackles
#1, guys.
Life, including previous legal controversies, the recent trial, which saw him acquitted on the most serious charges.
It gets better in the second, man, with 50 of them take the stage, him and the director lady.
Prison for about 2 more years. Diddy's team is also rebutting this project as a, quote, shameful hit piece. They note the obtained footage was not authorized for release. Netflix says they legally obtained.
They saying Diddy saying they went up under his nose, guys. What do y'all feel about that? How y'all feel about it? 50, the biggest troll, you know, basically on the internet, done got a hold to Diddy. What's up with it, Kate? We doing something different today, man. I'm just trying it out, man. I got to keep the page active. We got to get some kind of viewership time over here, man. If you ain't hit the like button, make sure you take time to double tap that screen, man. Send your boy Gil, whatever. But here is saying that Diddy is basically saying that he didn't give permission and he don't know how. You know, Diddy basically done got his hands on this footage and that he did it illegally. Yeah, man, and they finna fight tooth and nail about it.
Videos. In addition, tonight, another dynamic here is that another famous rapper is, of course, behind this film, 50 Cent, who has long publicly with Diddy and has recently expanded into a wide range of film and TV projects. He has plenty to say about Combs' record. The rapper,
your boy 50, and the actual director of this, the
awards and
producer.
accolades along the way, and is now a successful film and TV producer. Also joined by his colleague on the project, Alexandria Stapleton, an Emmy-winning showrunner.
Alexandria Stapleton, that's the lady. What's up with it, Lady Swag?
Always great to have a 50-day.
Yeah, it's always going to be good. Great for ratings.
There we go. It's an important project, clearly. The question for both of you, 50 first, why this project, why now?
Well,
evidently you care. You tapped in to type that, so I'm pretty sure you care about this.
5 months before I was able to find Alex, and finding that Emmy Award-winning showrunner and director is detrimental to the project being really well put together. So, you know, they should expect it to perform like Reggie Jackson's did.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the why it's coming out now is we wanted to wait, you know, to get through all of the legal proceedings, the criminal trial, and it spans, it's, you know, four parts, and it spans over 30 years of, you know, pop culture, life. So it took some time, to say the least, to put all of this together.
It's an important story, and you could just tell it with all the public material. Mm-hmm. You go further, you've gotten your hands on some extra new material people are going to see for the first time, including this video. Any journalist would want to know how you got it, but it is Sean Diddy Combs in the heat of this, right before the arrest for the trial we just discussed.
Dang, man, he should just so Netflix is saying that they obtained this legally. Basically, somebody, they didn't get their money and they sold it to the highest bidder, which was 50 Cent.
In private moments, talking to his lawyer, cameras running. Let's take a look.
Hey, Sincere.
It's the middle of September and there's still no indictment.
Bro, then you have to have a spokesman. You have to have some sort of comms to constantly be pushing that, Mark. Because you may just be a person that just does, you just may watch CNN. So you at the wrong place looking to see what the people with the possible jurors are thinking. It could be somebody that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business of media and propaganda.
50, how'd you get it, and what does that scene show?
Well, I mean, you know,
it explains how you obtained the footage.
I would not disclose your sources.
We usually don't.
Yeah, but I got it. Yeah.
What's that?
and what do you think it conveys? Because we see someone trying to pull the strings and talking about, he would say affecting, others would say manipulating the public views of the allegations.
I think that, you know, one big theme of the series is to go
Sweet babe, what you mean? Don't tap the screen. Most definitely double tap that screen. That's how you hit the like button, or you can click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up. That's another way to hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel if you're new over here.
behind the scenes to really understand how brilliant you could say Sean Combs is at marketing, at owning narrative, controlling the narrative at all times. And so why would that stop, you know, when his life is on the line? So I think that, you know, on its face, that's what it is. But as you get deeper in the film, you start to realize, you know, perhaps how some of these tactics, you know, how they really came to present themselves, you know, during the trial.
You show that, his abilities, his early rise. Alexandra, you also give time to victims of the alleged abuse. Some of the cases are in different procedural postures. And you show victims who were women and men. Why is that important?
Because, you know, victims of sexual assault, sexual violence, you know, that should, there should be, gender should not be a part of that conversation. When you are a victim, you're a victim. And I think that, you know, this series was a platform in a way for these alleged victims to come forward, give their truth, put context to their situations when such a ripped out, you know, and we just went, the world was going for the salacious headlines, and they really had the time to tell their story.
Yeah, it takes us way behind the PR.
Now they saying that 50, didn't really have much to do with the putting together of this documentary. Actually, it was this lady right here, and they just using 50 as the face of the person, to basically say, it was me, but really it was her. That's what they saying. Little sneak peek before Gene Deal get up here.
Propaganda machine. You see Diddy the day he's finding out about news against him while he's in New York, preparing for a possible criminal arrest. This is another moment from the video that 50 said he won't tell us where he got. But it's a rare window into his thinking. I can say, just like Nixon didn't think the Watergate tapes would come out against him, it appears he did not think he would lose control of this video as he talks about an accuser. Take a look.
I don't know what level of brokenness, disease is going on. God told me to do nothing, so I gotta do what God told me to do. And when I do.
Right, Miss D.
That was on my last album. On my last album, now all of a sudden I'm this person, I'm this monster. Yeah. Gloves coming off.
Alexandria, what is this show in the story you're telling?
Well, this is a moment where the lawsuits, I would say, take a turn and they become very personal for him. Don Richard is one of the alleged.
Well, according to Gene Deal, you know what I'm saying? He got a hand in it, but they are basically using him for the face, or the promotion, this, that, and the third. That actually this lady that's sitting beside 50 is really the one, that put all this together. I'm just saying.
Victims who filed a lawsuit, and I think that this is a moment where he was nicked. His armor was nicked, I guess you could say, because I think Sean Combs is a person who probably feels like to step to him, especially legally, takes a lot of courage that I don't think he really assumed that a lot of people were going to have, even though the Cassie lawsuit had already been out, and so I think he was a little off balance, but that quickly turned to anger.
And 50, the project, I've seen all 4 episodes, it doesn't feel like a personality critique. It feels like it goes to the conduct, the alleged abuse, some of it alleged, some of it proven. And so also, I'm going to, one person who worked with Diddy, this was a Bad Boy co-founder who had a falling out with him, as apparently many people did. And it goes beyond the bravado. Some would say, 50, you have some bravado.
Trish, you gonna see what I'm talking about in a second. You just hang around. You know what I'm saying? What you doing? You super busy? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing, Trish? I know you from New York. You might want to participate. You got a lot of insight as I show you things that's going on. What you doing right now? You busy? Let me know down there. Let me know if you busy or not. I might need you to come up.
That's okay. Here, it seems that it turns into something more sinister and abusive. I want to play Mr. Burroughs talking about your view of why this was an important part of the story. Take a look.
He had this thing with strongmen, and he had a thing to be one, but not positioned to be one street-wise, but positioned to be one industry-wise. And they call that a paper thing.
No, I'm not paying.
All right, so I'm finna put the StreamYard link, Trish, on my community wall. You know what I'm talking about? Go click on it. Come here. All right, hold on.
Nor am I involved in any of that.
And so as he's paper gangstering, he's also trying to street gangster.
Yeah, Kurt Barrows has a lot of insight. And this documentary is about people being able to tell their truth or tell their version of the story. And I think, I wish we were able to have Diddy be in the doc. So he could have said some things that, make people understand why.
He trying to act like he could. He trying to act like he could if Diddy was in the documentary or not. Stop it, 50.
What do you think of the psychology, 50? Because in getting to know you, I've learned that you could have been a full-time psychologist and done very well with that. You have a keen eye for people. Fair?
Oh yeah, I try.
Mr. Burroughs makes the argument that Diddy was overcompensating, that he wasn't initially actually a tough guy.
Right.
And then there's the old saying, be careful who you pretend to be, you might become them.
Exactly.
Did that happen to him in your view?
They saying 50 better watch out too. You know what I'm saying? He could be next.
Transpired, but you know, because I don't know him to be tough. Like we haven't even had problems. Like me and him. Like they'll say we had beef for 20 years, but I have hired both of his sons for different projects that I worked on. Like both two different television shows, Betsy and Justin. You know, so I don't like have that energy towards him, like where we trying to hurt each other. All I would like while other people pointed out those situations.
That boy say
like
free chaos
like that. I said, oh, okay. You know, I take it in, but we never got there.
Alexandria, the story also broadens well beyond the recent case. You look at a very controversial incident he was involved in early in his life, where people were badly hurt and killed, lost their life, but it was like a melee, not one-on-one violence. You look at the infamous case in the nightclub with J-Lo, where another artist, Shine, took the rap, not him. Are you trying to tell a story that he's been getting away with things this whole time, or is that up to the viewer to decide?
I mean, they've been knowing that Diddy been getting away with a lot of stuff this whole time in New York. You know, I just don't think the world just knew it, but a lot of the insiders already knew what Diddy doing, and that he been getting away with a little bit of this and that forever.
Absolutely up to the viewer. I think that my job is to show patterns, you know, and my job was to report the facts and things that happened. And I think that it's pretty obvious that there are patterns that follow him.
Stacks, what's up?
You know, of destruction and you know, devastation that follow. And I think that, again, context is everything. And so when you're talking about Sean Combs, when you're talking about these cases, you can't just...
Hey, if you in the building, you ain't hit the like button, man, support the channel by hitting the like button. Double tap that screen or click those 3 dots and hit the thumbs up, guys. It helps out the channel. Most definitely subscribe if you are new.
Cherry pick one to make it all make sense. You have to look at the piece as a whole.
Yeah. Now we have to talk about Tupac, which I wasn't committed to, but then I watched the doc.
So they talk about in which we know that Keefe D, this is nothing new. You know what I'm saying? The documentary ain't the first time we heard about Diddy potentially having something to do with the unaliving of Tupac Shakur. Even they touched on it in the documentary, but Keefe D, you know, who's going through trial right now, been said this, you know what I'm saying? In the streets, been saying it forever. I mean, it's a good thing that they put it off in the documentary and kind of pointed the finger as well, but people been feeling like Diddy has something to do with the unaliving of Biggie as well as Tupac.
You have a lot of people saying stuff in there that makes it sound like maybe he was responsible for that murder, which has never been proven. That's a very serious thing.
You have Keefe D over in Vegas now, getting ready to go on trial for that case, saying those things. Yeah.
I mean, see what happens with his trial. I think right now it's up for August of 2026. And so it'll be very interesting. It was fascinating, though, to unearth, you know, different people that are not in the direct line of, you know, when all the Keefe news came out, someone like Kirk Burroughs, you know, you get to understand more of his opinion about what was going down. But I think more than just the actual...
He sold on both.
The tragic deaths of both Tupac and Biggie. I think that for us, it was really important to understand some of the dynamics of those three, Sean Combs, Biggie, and Tupac, and what was really going on behind the scenes. That often gets lifted because everyone just wants to talk about, you know, the murder, you know, and not to really digest why.
But do you think the viewers left the impression that he was responsible?
I think that that's really up to the court system and not to me. Or
Yeah, they sure answering these questions politically correct. You know, they acting like they was not trying to push an agenda. To the people that seen it, what are y'all? Were they pushing agenda through this documentary? You know, were they kind of pointing the finger, or was they being unbiased in the whole situation and basically, you know, just leaving it up to y'all to decide? Let me know.
Or the film, we're just presenting, you know, things that have been reported on, have been said by Keefe D, you know, himself repeatedly, and the LAPD.
Show some love, brother Love. Go on.
No, I'm just saying what Keefe was saying.
What he was saying. Yeah, you're speaking about a key person who some people would say, oh, that's strong evidence. Other people would say, when you get into years later and people with various agendas, you don't know. You have a juror in here. What did that show us about this case? Because there is a tension within all this. It's no
Trish, I asked y'all. I didn't. That has nothing to do with the question I just asked. I said, if you seen the documentary, do you think they was pushing an agenda or not?
no stranger to many people that the justice system fails in all sorts of ways. You show how it failed survivors and Cassie, clearly. At the same time, he beat things in New York. I remember the day it happened, and I looked at 50's Instagram for Diddy News, as so many Americans do. And in all fairness, 50 said, okay, you beat a big part of the case, right? You said. Many people think that was an unjust outcome, but when talking to the jurors, what did you find? Because the film looks at all of this horror, but then finds that a jury of his peers in New York, ultimately in this era, said the government did not prove the whole RICO case.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really complicated. And I think that to break down what went right and what maybe went left or wrong in that trial is that's a whole document. But I think that, you know, we had two jurors, two very different types of New Yorkers, you know, that were interviewed and I think that when you talk to them, I mean, it was very clear to me that they stood behind that decision. They stood behind it 1,000%. Because they thought that based on the charges that were presented by the federal government, and that they could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Sean Combs was guilty of, you know, RICO.
Yeah. That they overcharged.
That they overcharged. I think that when you get into the, you know, I don't know if our laws or our legal system are the best when it comes to the gray matter of sexual assault.
They had tanks out in front of his house. All right, like they made a bigger, more extreme approach to the investigation.
So you think the government did?
This 50 Cent boy.
Strong evidence.
They did overdo it.
They overdid it.
He did great. He beat the case. To me, that what he was charged with.
So he learned from Clive.
Victory. Like that, to end up with 50 months when you had when your life on the line is a victory, you know. But to be the only person that's incarcerated for hiring and transporting male prostitutes is different.
Yeah, life on the line, also a 50 lyric.
Yeah.
It is. When he comes out, and it's not that long from now, he re-enters this world. He's got a stack of civil cases that could bankrupt even the wealthiest people, and you give voice to some of those accusers and individuals. What do you think the future should hold for Diddy? Should he be, sort of re-embraced or not?
I don't know if he. I don't know why he didn't file bankruptcy. Like it would have indicated to the Sharks, even if you see blood in the water, there's not that much blood, right? Because the lawyers, they came with so many.
Absolutely, Red Hood.
Different civil suits. So
it's over 100 now.
Yeah, he'll be. That is going to exhaust him. The legal process will exhaust him.
I think he also underestimated.
Well, Romero, considering that they threw it out, man, he ain't the only one no more. You know, he beat it.
Unfounded. But I think that some of these lawsuits, there's receipts and there's footage and there's voice recordings. And I think that for a man, it's also very interesting, you know, for the culture of hip hop, you know, so many artists record themselves And they probably, when they were, recording themselves in 2005, never saw the year 2025 and how accessible that media would be to actually make a case for things. And I think that's a big part
you
of
think so, Tom?
Sean Combs and what he's dealing with.
Thanks to both of you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. So, that was from the directors, in so many words. That was from 50, and the lady, that's behind it, guys. All right. So like I told you, it was some inside scoop, some inside information that a lot of us not privy to, that was spoke on by no other than the person who always speaks out against Diddy, the one who's been doing all the talking, but most definitely didn't get called into court to testify. I wonder why, but hey, he most definitely laid it on the table. Let's go over here to where I told y'all Gene Deal, basically has some things to say about this whole entire situation, guys. Continue to double tap that screen, get them likes up, and most definitely subscribe to the channel. If you are new, let's see what Gene Deal had to say about this documentary, what was exposed, why he wasn't in it when people thought most definitely he'll be in it, in the motives behind the dropping of this documentary, guys.
Gene Deal, welcome back, my guy. Been a while, man.
It has been, but I'm here, and I figured that after this 50 documentary, you'll be giving me a call. Told you I ain't turning down nothing but my collar when it comes to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I mean, I had to bring you back. This documentary got everyone talking, man. A lot of people want to know why you wasn't in it, man.
Well, first and foremost, I thought I was
in
the documentary at first until I started talking to that director. I think her name is Stapleton, I don't know her name.
So he's talking about the lady, the woman I just told y'all. Remember what I told y'all earlier about 50 not really being the one that's doing that did the documentary, but more of the face the documentary to promote it or whatever.
Stapleton, I don't know her name. The white shit, I don't know, man. Me and 50 talked like 45 minutes. Producers had been calling me and everything.
Yeah, Alexandra,
like 50 called me up and they got him on the phone, man. He was just talking. We was talking about old time shit, sit down with Black Hands, sit down with, with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's going to be doing. You know what I'm saying? So I told him that I was going to, have Kirk and Tim. Kirk would be the one who talk about the business part of it. Tim would be the one who talk about the growing up phase with Diddy and everything, and they're working in the record industry with him and stuff like that. They was like family. And I was gonna talk about, the street stuff, what was going on with Bad Boy, with the security, with Wolf, with the City College, with the time I knew about when I was with him up until about early 2004, something like that. But basically streets and then the traveling with him and the atmosphere and everything. And then go back into the Notorious Big stuff, with the Tupac and the whole 9 yards, all the stuff that I knew, you know what I'm saying? So we was talking and he sounded like, yo, listen to him. They gonna spare no expense with this whole documentary. So I said, all right, cool. So what I did was I spoke to Tim.
So Gene says he was most definitely interviewed about being in this documentary. Basically talked to the people and got a whole lot of insight. Check it out.
Spoke to Kirk Burroughs. And I was like, yo, because I had Tim's number. Tim didn't know how to get into touch with Kirk. Kirk didn't know how to get into touch with Tim. But Kirk was trying to tell me, give him the number with Tim. I said, nah, I ain't doing that. So I gave one of the producers the number in the whole 9 yards to get in touch with Tim because I want to see him get money because I know Tim got a hell of a story with Puff. So then I talked to Tim and I told him, yo, listen here, man, we should go in as a package deal. All three of us, we could tell a hell of a story of this whole documentary. You know what I'm saying? From front to start. Then whatever stuff that they get and everything like that. So let's go in there and ask them for 50 a piece. You know what I'm saying? So Tim was like, what, yo, Gene, whatever, you know, go ahead like that. Kirk was like, yeah, okay, cool, Gene. You know, it was like a general census that we was gonna do this in a whole package deal. You know what I'm saying? And then I started speaking to the producers and everything like that, because 50 had told me himself that they was going to spare no cost in doing this because he wanted to tell the story, and he wanted to tell the story like it was supposed to be told and everything like that. I said, yeah, okay. So then the director, I got to get her name, man, because it don't even sound. I want to put her on blast because she was telling me, you know, she was saying to me that what I was asking for was crazy, and they wasn't spending money like that. I'm talking about, you got footage, you got clothing, you got. I was doing footage. I had pictures, all the stuff that I had. You know, you could figure out a way to pay a brother and stuff like that. And then I was telling her about some prices that I've already received, and I had the invoices to show it. And then she was calling me like I was lying. I'm like, yo, who do you think you're talking to? You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about, you know, there's no way nobody paid. Nobody what? I say, first of all, every people with these documentaries and stuff, the first thing you tell me, y'all tell these people out here that y'all don't pay, and y'all pay. If you can make a picture look like $10,000, $15,000, you know what I'm saying? You can sit here and tell me that you're gonna pay me for my time sitting right down here with y'all. You understand? So then, you know, one thing led to another, and I was like, yeah, all right, well then, you know, F you, you know, I spoke to 50, and then she said 50, and this is exact words that came out her mouth. 50 does not determine what goes in this documentary. And he definitely don't pay, he determine what somebody get paid. It's not his documentary like that. I was like, oh, so if it's not his documentary and I spoke to him like that, I don't need to be doing nothing with you, because I'm doing this on the strength of him. But you don't pay me if I do it. So it went back and forth, you know what I'm saying, for a little bit, and then they had Kirk Burrows giving me calls and everything like that. What are you calling me for? You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Get out of here. I know.
She said Gene oversaturated. Anyway. Okay.
You cool and everything, Kirk, but don't call me about no business with this stuff.
I told you to come up here, Trish. It's on the community wall.
Is that he was making a deal, cutting a deal for himself as well as Tim. You understand? And I was trying to get a deal for all three of us. You understand? So that's how industry cats go. You know, that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it like this. So then he called me back again, and I told him, like, listen, man, don't you ever call my phone again, Kirk? You know what I'm saying? Because we had got into it about somebody calling him. He told me Groovy Lou called him and wanted to know why Gene's still doing this to Puff and everything like that. And I mentioned it on the Gene Deal show. You understand? I said something. Then he called me back I was lying. Sure. Yo, listen to me, Kirk. Don't call me about what these clowns and these niggas say right here, bro. And especially don't call me talking about what I got to fix. When in fact, you know what you told me.
My bad.
You know what our conversation was. You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing about why I'm not in the thing, the lady was talking greasy to me. She had no right to talk greasy to me. And then she told me that 50 didn't have the power to do anything, but they use it to like push the whole
He talked to the lady that was in charge, and she told him that 50 didn't have the power to do anything. You know, he basically wasn't running anything. He was only the face, guys. I told y'all. All right, it's there, Trish. It's there. I just put it there.
Fix. When in fact, you know what you told me. You know what our conversation was.
I told y'all.
So the whole thing about why I'm not in the thing, the lady was talking greasy to me. She had no right to talk greasy to me. And then she told me that 50 didn't have the power to do anything, using his name to like push the whole documentary. And that's what it was about.
What they doing, Gene?
To like push the whole documentary. And that's what it was about.
50 didn't have power to what?
That 50 didn't have the power to do anything, but they using his name to like push the whole documentary. And that's what it was about. So
hold on, let me
that's why you don't see a cameo other than the pictures they used of me on the film in the documentary. I got like 3 or 4 pictures in the documentary that I've seen of myself. You know, some people say they saw more, but I know three different times where I was certain places that you could actually see me in the documentary.
Is that you?
Of course, this week.
So you heard Gene say that 50 ain't running nothing. That basically he's just the face, and that woman, is really running the show.
That's inaccurate. 50 Cent is the executive producer of this documentary. He's more than a face. He's the person who actually got the funding for the project. Okay, she's a director, Emmy award-winning director. So she puts the pieces together. 50 Cent doesn't do that. Okay. 50
so
Cent
what makes you
director? She's the director. She's an Emmy award-winning director. That's not his job. An executive producer's job is to make sure projects get funded.
So why is Gene Deal saying all this?
Because he's salty.
He said that woman talked greasy to him.
No. So here's the thing. Timothy and Kirk were really, really huge players in this Diddy journey. So was Gene Deal. But for the last 6 years, we've seen Gene Deal on Art of Dialogue. He doesn't even have to, I don't know how much he pays him. So if he's always on the show, he gets exclusive rights to Gene other than his channel. Why would they pay him astronomical fees if he does all this talking for years? What else is he going to say?
I mean, but it's one thing for him to be talking on his own show and get paid for doing his talking, however, whatever means. But it's another thing for me to come up on yours and talk on yours. You need to pay me. I'm missing out money I talk about.
But how much do you think Art pays him? He's been on there 3,000 times in 6 years. 3,000.
Nika says, why would Gene be salty? That's crazy.
Yeah, why would he be salty? Because they chose to pay Tim and Kirk, which I'm so happy they got Kirk. Because everybody for years wanted to hear Kirk finally come out and not be restrained with that NDA, even though he was beat out of his 25% of Bad Boy.
Okay, but Gene said that he talked to 50 as well. He talked to 50 prior, and then that woman stepped in and was like, 50 don't run nothing. I run it. He don't run nothing. He's just a face. He's just
no. That's what he said. No, he didn't say 50 doesn't run anything. 50 doesn't make decisions on what pieces go in. She's a director. He's right. 50 doesn't. Just like in Power, you think 50 put those scenes
that's
together.
Why you don't see a cameo other than
listen. Let me show you. I want you to hear what he said.
Do anything, but you got in the thing. The lady was talking greasy to me. She had no right to talk greasy to me, and then she told me that 50 didn't have the power to do anything.
Didn't have the power to do anything. Anything means anything, Trish.
You know what? I really believe that Gene be talking the side of his mouth sometimes. That's just not true. He's the executive producer. He is the if he wanted to fight, listen to me, he could have chose any director on the planet and this documentary would have got done no matter what. He had another director in mind. 5 months. This project was supposed to be called Diddy Did It. Okay? He was on this before he even met Alexandria Stapleton. 50 Cent was the one who retrieved the footage from the videographer and went to an Emmy Award director, and he came on board because it was a great package.
Now I'm getting told he got the footage from Netflix. Netflix wasn't paid and they sold it to the highest bidder.
No, it's the other way around. The videographer was following Diddy around for 2 weeks. All right, Roger Bonds told the truth, not Gene Deal. Roger Bonds told the truth. Diddy got these young guys to shoot him for this cheap ass price, but had them up for days and days, shooting them in the shower, in the bathroom, taking a shit, like everything, for hours and hours. And when he got the invoice, Diddy didn't want to pay it. So it was up for grabs. Okay? It was up for grabs. The videographer contacted, allegedly, 50 with all of this footage. 50 then switched gears from Diddy Did It and all of those claimants.
So listen. So y'all believe Gene Deal about everything else, but he lying about this.
No, I don't believe
when he talk bad about Diddy, say Diddy did this, Diddy did that, people believe it. Oh yeah. Now he's saying 50 don't run there, and they like, nah, he lying. Go ahead.
No, because I know what an executive producer's position is. I'm telling you, he had so many people on that Diddy Did It before it changed. When that footage landed in his lap, he switched gears. He waited to after. And not only that, he waited after the trial. You know, it's good that he waited to after the trial, right? Because his baby mama was one of Diddy's victims, alleged victims.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, so 50 Cent wasn't banking on his baby mama to pop up. You saw it play out on his IG. He was shocked.
He told her to keep talking. He was coming to get the kid.
Yep.
In true 50 Cent fashion.
Crazy work. So
I would Netflix have it over the person who actually was the videographer.
No, well, he went to 50 Cent first. He got paid. Listen to how much money this videographer, and there's two of them, because they had two cameras. The videographer, 50 Cent paid them to retrieve it, right? 50 Cent took the footage to Alexandria Stapleton to see what she could do with it, and he helped. He's right. Gene Deal is right about it. Gene Deal was a catalyst to bring all of these people out, but some of these guys were already in documentaries, like Tim. Kirk Burroughs was the key that Gene Deal was, right? That's why he's speaking about Kirk. Kirk Burroughs was not in any of those other documentaries. He was gagged. He couldn't speak, and plus he was homeless. The money that he made from this documentary helped him open up his own record label. People don't even know that. So,
So we supposed to take what Gene says with a grain of salt?
No. Gene knows what he's talked about, but I think a little bit of emotion is coming in because he didn't get paid what he wanted to, and Kirk Burroughs got paid what he needed. Why? Nothing Gene presented or would have presented would have been groundbreaking. But if you looked and saw the documentary, absolutely, Kirk Burroughs was the star of this documentary, hands down. We would have never known that Biggie paid for his own funeral.
Nika, you strongly disagree, man. Hey, the link is on my community wall. You know, everybody can speak. I'm just saying.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but
I don't believe anything that comes from someone that still expect us to believe. Oh my goodness, never mind. Go ahead.
I don't care about that dude.
Yeah,
So
but
look,
I know they on some other. I didn't know that. I didn't even read it out.
it doesn't even matter to me. This matters to me right now because it's interesting.
Let's go.
In regards to Gene Deal, I do believe him most of the time, but in this situation, the fact that he wasn't paid what he wanted and he thought he was more valuable than Kirk Burrows, co-founder of Bad Boy. If it wasn't for him, there would have been no Bad Boy.
Yeah.
Okay. You're right. He did all the budgets. He's the one who told, and this is why some people are looking sideways about that Tupac situation, but there's still no hard receipts. But he did paint a picture that no one knew.
Yeah.
He paid for it. There was 19 security cars that drove for that Las Vegas fight from New York to Vegas.
With Tupac.
Yeah, for Tupac. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not get on the plane? He questioned it. But in his mature self, over time, he always questioned it. During the time, he just did what Diddy wanted him to do. And it was more expensive than getting on planes. So why did he always wondered, why are we driving to New York to Vegas? That's crazy. And he's the key. Gene Deal wouldn't know those answers.
The other dude would.
He's the one who paid for it. He was the co-founder of Bad Boy.
The one that got 25%.
Not anymore. Diddy
Diddy took it back. I know he came in and took it back.
And said he was going to
to be completely honest, this information was really the only news we never heard this whole while. Let's go. All right, let's listen to some more of the video. Get your thoughts together, Trish.
But they using his name like push the whole documentary, and that's what it was about. So that's why you don't see a cameo other than the pictures they used of me on the film in the documentary. I got like 3 or 4 pictures in the documentary that I've seen of myself. You know, some people say they see more. I know three different times where I was certain places that you could actually see me in the documentary, and that's the only thing you're going to get. But stories that they told in the documentary, bro, come on. They could have went a whole lot deeper. They could have did a whole lot more. So I ain't in the documentary because that lady that was the
Alexandria
director. I think, what's her name? Alex Stapleton. You know her name?
Alexandria Stapleton.
Yo, Money, just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna look this up, all right?
A little inside from Gene Deal, guys.
Okay. Her name is Alex Stapleton. The director that I spoke to was Alex Stapleton. She was the one who told me that she was the director, she was the producer, whatever, this, that, and the third, the whole 9 yards. And she was talking mad greasy to me. And listen here, it's no matter after you talk that kind of talk to it's no amount of money she can pay me anyway for me to get it.
Pause it right there. Because I want to touch on what he means by she talk greasy.
They say he always talking. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, that statement, he would never come clean of what he meant by Alexandra's talk crazy to him. So let me tell you what I heard the pre-interview was about. You know, the city college, massacre where 9 people lost their lives. Right?
Unalive. Yeah, unalive.
Right, unalive. Gene was security for that.
Mm-hmm.
And questions were asked about things that he couldn't answer. He got defensive. Then questions were coming up about Biggie that night. And it was on his watch again. Let's
take time to double tap that screen, guys. Get the like Can we likes past 100? Double. If you haven't hit that like button, double tap that screen or click the 3 dots, hit the thumbs up. Go ahead, Trish.
So there was 2 incidences, major incidences, while he was employed by Diddy that occurred on his watch. And those questions he got very defensive about. So that's what he meant by she talked greasy to him. She wasn't talking greasy. She wanted to prepare for like the way Kirk was. You see how the rumors were about Kirk and Diddy well, maybe I didn't know. It was rumors for years and years and years that Diddy and Kirk Burroughs were together, like Andre Harrell and Diddy. And for the first time, another aha moment in this documentary, Kirk admitted that Diddy essayed him and abused him. So these are the things that made the documentary pop, especially from a New Yorker that never heard that before. Not about the caravan from New York City, not about Diddy paying, Biggie paying for his own funeral.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Not about
that was crazy.
Diddy stealing Rolling Stone cover from Biggie. All of that was, you wouldn't have got that if it wasn't Kirk, because Gene doesn't know. I'm on mute.
I bet. All right, let's get back to more of Gene had to say. Trish say he might be a bit salty. I say he might be giving y'all some news y'all can use. But either way, you know what I'm saying? This is what he said.
You know, my story is more too valuable, you know, getting in the depth or getting in depth with this whole stuff. And it would have helped that documentary a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? And actually, they used all the stuff that I told them and did it the way that I was saying do it. Tim Dog started off with the childhood with Puff and the 9 yards. Kirk Burroughs do the business part, but they was trying to put people in there like Mark Curry and other people talk about the streets or what was going on. You know,
he said Diddy essay. Who you say essay? Trish?
Kirk Burroughs. If you saw the documentary,
Kirk Burroughs. Kirk Burroughs. That's his name. That's who she said.
But that's the co-founder of Bad Boy, and everyone thought they were dating. And in that documentary, he painted a different picture, which aligns with everybody else who accused Diddy of something like that, like Little Rod.
Allegedly, yeah. Let's go.
I'm only quoting what the documentary said. It's not alleged. It's in the documentary. If it's a lie, I didn't know.
Okay. Yeah, so she's saying she stamped it with that's what was said in the documentary, guys. All right, let's continue.
Certain things, but Mark could only say so much, you know what I'm saying, because he was an artist. So he wasn't with Puff like I was.
Please misspell your cuss words.
We was running back and forth here and there and the whole 9 yards. So, you know, Miss Alex Stapleton is the one reason why I'm not in the documentary, but it's all right with me. I've been in a lot of documentaries. I did the Shine. I did the A&E. I did the Discovery Channel. I did the Fox. You know, I've been in a whole lot of different documentaries.
What would he say?
I'm always on the Art of Dialogue.
What would he say? So that's new.
People been getting most of the information from her anyway.
Yeah, man, you always.
Yeah, he say he been in plenty of them, so not being in this one didn't hurt nothing. That's basically what he was saying. He don't care. He been in plenty of them.
But he's trying to act like the documentary wasn't amazing. He's
just saying. I don't know if he said that. I mean, he just said, you know, like it ain't salty.
The documentary would have been better. No, it wouldn't have. I'm glad that he wasn't.
Okay, let's go.
Man, always got to bring you on. So with that being said, man, I want to get right into the documentary, man. How you feel about the documentary, man? The behind the scenes footage they got of Diddy leading up to him getting arrested, and how you feel about all that, man?
Well, what I feel about the documentary, they left a whole lot of key things out. If they was going to do something, and they're going to say in the reckoning of Sean Combs, the reckoning, or Diddy, the reckoning, and stuff like that, it should have been a lot of people that we lost because of him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't only Big. It wasn't only Tupac. You understand? For the atmosphere that he put those kids in. You got a guy named Anthony Wolf Jones, who was from its conception as doing security and being one of the financiers of Puff having to have some money to keep Big and Craig Mack around before he got to Clive Davis. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't able to tell that story because they didn't have no intel on that story or what went down, or they didn't do their investigations right, which he also led up to the reason why Wolf ain't here today. You understand? They didn't tell that story. They didn't tell a story about Jessica Rosenberg, who was at the City College situation. You understand? When it was Puff, Heavy D, and Jessica. You know what I'm saying? Jessica was the reason why those kids lost their life, because she locked the door on those kids running down the steps. You understand? You can put her name in a news article, but they didn't mention nothing about her taking place, but they try to put Heavy D, God bless the dead, out there, and they put Puff out there. You know what I'm saying? She should have been the main one, because she is the one who locked the door on the kids. You understand? She is the one who locked the door on the kids, and all those kids lost their life. Had she not locked the door, not one kid would have lost their life. Not one kid would have lost their life. And that's what happened. So the that I have about the documentary, man, it was just old news, and they took a couple of with the footage from Puff from the days that's leading up him to get arrested, and the incidents with the people from courts. You know, the two people from the courts. So
thank you for the gift.
It was nothing new. It was put together pretty good, but it was nothing new that we didn't know. It is nothing new that we didn't know, bro. And they could have did a whole lot better. They could have got into the fact of they was talking about they wasn't going to, you know, they were going to give some money on it and stuff.
Thank you for the gift. What you say? What?
My head. You hear this shit?
What? Cuss words, but I mean, he giving his perspective.
He's hating.
He giving his perspective, Trish.
Yeah, come on, are you kidding me? He's never gotten on this platform and said anything that Kirk Burrows said in that documentary, and he's done thousands of interviews. He is a hater. He sounds like a hater. He sounds mad. It could have been a whole lot better if I was in it and you did it like this and you did it like, get out of here.
Well, he was just naming a couple of events that he knew about that they didn't even touch on because they didn't know nothing about it because they didn't have him.
Listen, this was a Diddy documentary. They wanted to paint a picture, an agenda for Diddy. If you're trying to paint a picture and put blame on somebody else other than Diddy, what are you here for? I wouldn't pay you for that. Who gives a fuck about that white bitch?
You got hey, cuss words. I know you.
I mean, who gives a fool? Right. Who gives a fuck about the lady who was ordered to lock the door? But maybe the bigger question is who told her that it was okay to lock the door, because she worked for them. They paid and rented out. He was the security. He in a previous interview, and this is why you start.
But when he's the security, Trish, when he's the security,
but he blamed
Diddy. He has more insight.
He blamed Diddy for the first 3 years that he should have had more security. He overbooked it. He rarely mentioned that lady all this time. Now, even though it was in the newspaper, I remember, that being mentioned when he got on this platform. He made it all about Diddy. Okay.
Okay.
So that's what's making it inconsistent. So now it's not about Diddy. It's about a lady who got orders from whom? Did Gene? He was the head of security. Did he tell her it was okay to lock the door? Like, who told the lady to lock the door because she worked for someone? That's not relevant.
The point. All he was doing is just giving insight
Yeah,
As
but
in,
that's nobody wants to hear that in a documentary. Get to it. Who did it? Diddy did it. I'm on you.
okay, all right. So Trish feel like he hating. I feel like he's giving insight. But let's go.
Like that, they got into the fact of who actually made that payment, because they put it all in the documentary. Who made that payment to get Tupac eliminated? If that was the payment that they had alluded to. So, like in the documentary, it's all right, bro. You know what I'm saying? But you watch it once, it don't get no second look. It don't get no second take.
Gene said, Trish, you said you watched it like 5 times. Gene say you watch it once, it don't get no second look.
Man, I'm gonna watch it again tonight. What?
Let's go.
Nothing like say, yo, I gotta go see that shit again. Nah, not at all.
Oh, he's hating mad.
Let me be clear on this, brother, is that I was at City College. You understand? I was there. I was doing security. My team was supposed to have the outside. Puff came to me the day before we were supposed to do the job there and told me that Heavy D didn't want us to do the security outside. I had 18 men ready to do the security outside with my dogs, like I always do. People knew how we used to roll. We would have the pits, the Rottweilers, you understand? You know, we had that outside locked up. So anybody try to bum rush, anybody do that, we had the gates, the whole 9 yards. So we could stop all that. You know how people gonna get down in Harlem. You understand? So, and then when you got LL Cool J, you got Mike Tyson coming through there, and they coming through the front door so people see them. So they gonna go crazy. LL was the hottest thing out at that time. Mike Tyson was the hottest thing out at that time. They got all kinds of stars and people in there already. They was coming through the back. They came through the front. And they caused the door to be bum rushed. But if they had the gates up, if they had the dogs, and with the help of the police, that shit would have never happened, bro. That shit would have never happened. I was there. I saw it. I saw Jessica run down the steps after she grabbed the money box because my man Eddie was protecting her. And Eddie's the one called me.
Why you think it's Cap? He was there. You wasn't, Trish. You wasn't there.
No, because I'm going by what he said. He said, you see how he said he would have had 16 security outside, inside, covering everybody because they're big stars. Right. Why? I'm waiting for him to get to the budget was cut and he only had 4 security at City College. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
On the walkie-talkie and say, yo, Jessica just locked me in outside the gym, Gene. You couldn't go down the steps after they rushed the door. You understand? I had to run around the whole gym on the outside, around the gym, down the steps, run across the basketball court, and open the front door. When I opened that one door, because it pushed inside, people start squeezing through that. Then I just kept doing the doors, and people was coming in there, falling dead, right out, just falling out right there. And once they got in there, they just fell out. It was crazy, bro. It was a crazy sight. So I was there, man. So I knew more than they would put down there in that documentary. You know what I'm saying? You even see me, when Puff is standing up right there, you see me down there trying to
What's up, Jay?
CPR on somebody, and that was a 17-year-old kid that died, bro. That was a 17-year-old kid that died. I knew his brother. His brother was sitting there crying, talking about, my mama gonna kill me. This is the first time I ever took my little brother anywhere.
Terrible, man. Who do you put the blame on for that whole City College thing? Do you put it all on Diddy, or is it more people that played a part?
Well, I think Puff cutting security for the outside is a big part. Second of all, the college should have had their security there, and you didn't see none of the college security. And the college should have let the police department know that it was a function of that magnitude that was coming.
We need 12 more likes, guys. Double tap that screen. That's how you can hit the like button if you're on the mobile device, or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up. We need 12 more. We need 12 more people to be at 100 likes, guys. Hit that like button if you don't mind. Subscribe to the channel if you're new.
So it's Diddy and the college and the security and the school.
To get into this documentary, man, because I want to get your point of view, man, and I want you to break it down. There's one part in here where Erick Sermon, he told a story about how he was in the car with Misa, and Diddy caught him in the car, and Diddy swung on him. You seen that part?
Well, Erick Sermon said that Puff swung on him and invited him, and he invited Puff to go around the corner.
Thank you, Maddie.
But a lot of people, Kirk Burroughs told the story, and I told him, like, because we knew that had happened back in the day, that Puff was putting his hands on Misa. You know what I'm saying? I used to bodyguard Misa, brother. You understand what I'm saying? I used to bodyguard Misa. You know, after I stopped working for Puff and everything like that, I started working. Misa wanted to still be out. Misa still wanted to go to places. Misa still wanted to be out and about.
Appreciate the gift, my guy.
She said, Gene, would you look out for me? I said, Misa, you can't afford me. She said, Gene, it's only gonna be for a couple of hours when I go out and stuff like that. I know he not gonna do nothing if he see me with you. You understand what I'm saying? So I said, all right, cool. All right, Misa. All right. So if I come out for a couple of hours and stuff like that, every time I come out, Misa, it'll be $200, $250 for a couple of hours just for you, Misa. So it was known that Puff had a hand problem, especially when it came to women that he dated. And it was surprisingly that he swung, and like Erick Sermon said, on him. You understand? And then went to listen to some music. That shit was crazy to me. So my whole thing about it is that the Erick Sermon shit, and then he went to listen to see after Nick swung on him.
Erick Sermon, that was the dude with the green eyes, wasn't it, Trish? I think I remember him. He had green eyes.
PMD. What? Eric,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, I remember him. He acted like he was a big star or something. He wasn't nobody.
He still is. He still
nobody. Man.
You don't know what? Let me call me, child.
Nobody care about no Sermon these days. That was like 1942 or something like that.
You
dog.
50. Don't laugh at him.
All right, let's go.
That's some industry shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's some crazy industry shit. Think about when he's talking about
shout out to Maddie for getting that
being in his car and everything like that, and that was the part whereas that was putting his hands on Misa, and he should have whooped his ass right then and there. You know, no matter if Misa was just in his car chilling or whatever. You know what I'm saying? She chilling with me. That's I'm responsible for.
I didn't say I didn't know Erick Sermon. I said that's the dude with the green eyes. What I said was these days he's irrelevant. Nobody care about him.
What?
I remember him. He was the dude with the green eyes. Shout out to Jay Stevens for that time.
Now, my hair.
Why would he be still relevant today, Trish? Nobody care about. I ain't heard that name in forever.
Listen, if you
I ain't heard nothing about Erick Sermon in forever.
Hell yeah! You see how that man doesn't look like he aged one day.
Well, I wouldn't know because I ain't seen nobody talk about him. He don't be on those shows or nothing. I don't see him.
He doesn't have
I'm gonna be responsible for her.
He's real good.
Do it some other time. I don't care if it's your girl or not. If she in my car right now, you understand, and she chilling with me, and she a friend, you ain't gonna put your hands on her and beat her like Puff was doing her. Nah, not at all. And I think that, you know, he should have took responsibility for that more so than the responsibility of hearing a Biggie tape or Biggie music. You understand?
And speaking of Misa, how you heard about the comments she made about you today?
Now she done turned her back on Gene.
Bruh, I saw that today. Somebody sent me that shit today, man.
Yeah, she turned her back on Gene, told Gene he was the reason why she still be getting harassed and stuff, and it's all his fault. That's crazy.
And I don't doubt it. Let's go.
Well, they say Gene talk too much. Let's go.
Whole thing about it is, Misa, how am I harassing you? I've never harassed you. I've always been a protector of you so far until now. You understand? For you to go and try to snake that whole situation and saying, I'm the reason why you being harassed. No, your ex is the reason why you being harassed. You understand? Your ex is the reason why your son is the way he is. You understand? You know what I'm saying? This is what happened, and I'm gonna let you know. Another YouTuber, one who came out and said that Justin is Wolf's father. I mean, Wolf is Justin's father. Another YouTuber came out and said that Wolf is Justin's father. Wolf is former bodyguard of Bad Boy that was murdered by an associate with BMF. Now, I never said nothing, yay, nay, or whatever. Me and Puff is beefing.
That's a lie.
I'm not gonna come out and play
That's a lie.
About it being his son.
So, see, this is what I mean. When you do 1,000 interviews, you got to remember what you say. It wasn't a YouTuber who put that in the culture. It was Gene Deal early on in his interviews that he said in New York streets, and it was said that Wolf was not Diddy's son. Justin wasn't Diddy's son. It was Wolf's son, and he was the
That's
first
the youngest one, right?
No, that's the light-skinned early one. No, Christian is the youngest one.
Okay, all right, bet. Let's go.
So,
I got you.
Okay, so basically, he was the one who put that in. The first time I ever heard it, it was like 4 years ago when he did that interview with Cam, whatever that blogger's name, and he talked about what the streets were saying back then, and it was like, what they were saying that was Wolf, and then other bloggers started picking up. So I can see why Misa's mad, because we all know it came from Gene. This is what I mean by moving the goalpost. But I'm on mute.
Hey, look, so they say it's all Gene fault.
Save or anything. You understand? I ain't got nothing to do with it. I might allude to, maybe he is, maybe he ain't. He shoot motherfuckers in the studio. Wolf was that type of dude. So I didn't say nothing. But I know the difference. I know that he wasn't, because they had a blood test. They had they did that with the paternity test and shit like that. Proved that Justin was a son.
Wait a minute.
Messed up.
Now that's new. Now that what he just said was new, and that's fucked up. So he's back.
Messed up.
I mean, that's messed up because he's backpedaling and popping, because Misa, after all these years, are calling his ass out. Okay? So now he's saying, I know they got it blood. You never said that before. He never said that before. He's always been alluding. He never said, well, I know. He just said, see, this is what I mean. I just said, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I know they had a blood test and it came back positive for Diddy. Then why would you get on YouTube and social media and say that it was a possibility for all these years? See what I mean? It's wrong, man. Nah.
Well, there you go. Let's go.
Puff was mad the whole 9 yards because he had to pay Misa a large amount of child support, which he was starving her at first. He wasn't doing nothing for his son. That's why Suge Knight took that picture of Misa and Justin when he was hugging Misa, saying what the East Coast won't take care of, the West Coast will. You understand? I told everybody about that whole picture, and then everybody said I was lying and shit, and then somebody released Suge in the same clothes that he took that picture in, playing with Justin on the floor.
Whoa.
You understand? So now.
No, stop. Pause it.
Whoa. Is mad at me.
Not should.
Listen, no, he's absolutely right. This is what I'm saying. How all that stuff he did back years ago. I remember the interview he did, and they posted up the picture with Suge Knight, Nista, and Little Justin. I remember when Diddy went bananas because Gene Deal did that interview and gave that photo to the vlogger. I remember that. It was the same interview. He alluded for the third time that Justin was Wolf's son. But here it is, 2025. He's admitting that it isn't Wolf's son because they took a blood test and Diddy had to pay child support. It's crazy. Listen to what he's saying.
You always find something that you didn't know. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's always important.
It's crazy that he's doing this. Why would you even bring up Wolf if you know the blood tests and the courts were involved? They proved that was. Man,
it's corruption everywhere. Diddy might have wanted it to be his son so bad. You know, he paid to alter the numbers allegedly. Maybe I'm just saying it's speculation. Maybe you never know. Because there's people in the chat saying that everybody knows that that's Wolf's son, allegedly.
That's one person named Tony Snow.
My boy Tony,
that's one person in the United States of America. I'm on mute.
All right, let's go, man. Shout out to y'all.
Because I didn't clarify that. You understand? It wasn't for me to clarify, Bisa. I ain't harassed you not one time. I ain't harassed you when you owe me $750. I let it go. You've been having the money allegedly to pay me. You know what I'm saying? You got to deal with MCM. You could have sent me a bag. You could have did anything to make it good. But you just said F it.
Ladies,
now you being harassed by
in the chat. If I got a mod in the chat, man, it's a lady down there saying some crazy stuff. Named This Hannah. Let's remove those comments, man. We ain't on that. You're on the wrong channel with all that. Let's remove those comments. Her comments. This Hannah. Yeah, let's get her right up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Do I have any moderators in here? Yeah, we can't help you with that. You on the wrong channel.
Gene did never harass you, Misa. I used to save you because you were so afraid that when you was out here giving it up on both sides of the pan to feed your kids, that Puff was gonna find out. You know what I'm saying? About them down south niggas, about them NOLA niggas. Should I go on? Being harassed? Come on, me. Do better than that. You can do better than that, Misa. You know I ain't harass you. I ain't tell none of your secrets.
What?
I ain't say nothing about you.
I can't take
he said he ain't told none of her secrets.
Oh man, he's been talking. He got that room about Wolf out here. He told the secret about Suge Knight taking her in and helping her out with Justin was a baby when Diddy wasn't messing with her. He
contradicted himself. That's what you tell me.
He just told us the real reason why he did all of that because she owes him $750. That was the real reason for all of this. He's petty like that. Oh, so because she owes you $750, he just threw her under the bus all these years. He crazier than hell. Listen, he crazier.
Let's go.
But you want to put it out there and play a victim. It's Puff fault. All this shit is happening with Justin.
Thank you for the gifts.
All this shit is happening with you.
Shout out to Tay and Miss Kim for the gifts. And yeah, shout out to y'all. Thank y'all.
When he was mad over them NOLA niggas, y'all know who them NOLA niggas is, them New Orleans niggas. I'm gonna leave it at that. Because I ain't gonna put that man business out like that. Oh baby.
Do you see why Netflix would not pay them? Do you see? I wouldn't pay this nigga neither.
Gene say, man, look, man, you know what I'm saying? They should have paid him. They could have got the whole stories about everything, you know, that went on and everything in between. I'm just saying.
Well, my hey, are you laughing? Because you know he full of shit.
Crap. Lord have mercy.
I mean, God, okay, you're gonna train me.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm gonna get you right. You know what I'm saying?
He's full of boo-boo. Yeah, okay, no problem.
All right. Okay, so we got through the Gene situation. Trish most definitely gave us insight about that whole entire thing.
God,
you know,
that's ooh.
Yeah,
Tisa
so
Tells made it to the documentary. Why?
Let's go. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So we got Tisa Tells. All right, we got Tisa Tells, man, and she's basically breaking down this whole ordeal with 50 and his lawyers. Come to find out, you know, that 50, I mean, not 50, but Diddy and his lawyers, you know, come to find out that his lead attorney, Mark DeFilio, was most definitely not happy with being recorded, basically without his permission. And that's why you're hearing all that. Go ahead.
But that's important.
Absolutely, it's important.
No. Ready? And I'm gonna let you go. I promise you, I'm gonna let you go after this.
Sally Molly or whatever your name is, most definitely Trish doing that thing. You want to know why? Trish been keeping up with this, and plus Trish is a New Yorker. Who better to tell you about New York business than the person that's from New York? Go ahead.
Okay, but that's not true either.
What's not true?
Of being New Yorker, just because you're New Yorker don't mean you know what I know. Anyway,
but you know, you are privy to some things. You follow these, you know, when it comes to the like that. Diddy is New York, you know, so y'all been, you know, I'm just saying, but go ahead.
Let's get into the legal aspect, because I'm so glad you brought this piece up for your live. So it breaches when Diddy had those videographers film him everything, or doing everything, he was not supposed to allow them to film those conversations with his attorney. He was not supposed to have them in the hallway with Mark. And he saw it one time, and Mark turned in the documentary and told the videographer not to film him. But he was not privy to all the other times the videographer was around when he wasn't present. Physically, he was on the phone. He was being recorded, and it breaches attorney-client privilege. Meaning, and this is why I say this will open up a can of worms for possibly another RICO.
Okay, but the way that it was explained to me was, you know, when in an office, you know, is different, you know, than being in public. Somebody overhears it, you know.
You can't.
It makes it different.
No, you can't have a conversation with anyone present on a phone, email, Zoom call. You can't have anyone around at all. He can't have anyone around when he's speaking to his client. It breaches attorney-client privilege. Now,
what if you're in a restaurant and you having dinner and you and your attorney are talking about whatever you're talking about, and someone behind you decides
they usually wouldn't be talking about. They usually wouldn't be having those conversations at dinner.
But I'm just saying,
that's sloppy business.
Well, let me tell you this, illuminated person. In New York, you most definitely can. It's a one-person consent.
Yeah, you can. But
you most definitely can.
Let's stick on what Tisa Tells is probably going to talk about. I didn't see this, but I know she's going to talk about why Mark is mad at Diddy for filming him unbeknownst to him.
Absolutely, and he ain't the only one.
Oh, but here's the thing: Diddy paid 8 attorneys, the Dream Team, millions and millions of dollars for all of this privilege. You mean to tell me he's an idiot? He's an idiot. So now what his team can do, they can spill all of Diddy's tea. He broke it already. Do you understand what I'm saying? Everything that Diddy privately discussed with him about intricate details about what could hem him up is now on the table. And I think this is the starting of that. Because I've never seen anyone I never seen a client break attorney-client privilege ever when they're this hemmed up. That's all I'm saying. And I love this part of this story because he's in trouble for this.
Okay. All right, we got she says I don't know what the law is for wiretapping in New York. I don't know if it's a one-party state or a two-party state.
It's one party.
When you're speaking about or speaking to a lawyer, those are very different. Okay. It's a one-party state though. But let's get into a bit of the video. Let's get into a little bit of the video. Now I'm gonna let you go. Let's go.
Oh, what's the problem? You don't like consent? Let me get this straight. Now that you've been taped without your permission, you know the meaning of consent, Mark Agnifilo? You are most certainly enraged because Diddy filmed you without your... What's wrong? You got paid. Oh my God, you guys, come in, sit down and shut the door. This is serious. Do you know the Muffin Man? Do you know that Agnifilo is apparently very, very, very angry with Diddy? Listen, I thought something was weird at the fact that Diddy came out hooting and hollering. He sent Misa out, at least I think he sent Misa out to be his foot soldier. Every time I read her Instagram stories, all I hear is Sade. I'm crying everyone's tears, and they're inside each night. The more I die, the night before. You know that Sade song? I feel like Misa is the queen of sorrows, literally, because I get it. You trying to protect your son, but at this point, let it go. But let's get back to why y'all came here.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it
Hold on.
just by thinking about it.
I should have put it on the news one. But anyway.
Agnifilo, Diddy and his legal team. Y'all, things is getting serious for Diddy. Because here's the thing. As much as 50 and Alexandria and Vanessa made Diddy look like not a fool, they made him look like the way I've always seen him and the way you guys, they made him look like himself, right? Which is to say he was making a fool out of the public, right? Okay, well, they are saying that Mark Agnifilo and Diddy's legal team is very, very upset and they might be very, very nervous. Diddy done messed up now. Do you know why? Because remember how people like, that was privileged. Diddy's team, and by his team, I mean his spokesperson. It's funny his...
Trish, this is where it gets interesting. It was privileged. Shouldn't have recorded it. Attorney-client privilege. That's what she said.
Lawyers didn't issue a thing. It was his family spokesperson. And I was like, where is Mark Agnifilo? Yana, do you want to answer for this? All right, now listen to this and you let me know if you think Diddy and Mark Agnifilo are on the same page. Listen to this. Oh, sorry, really quick. The title of this article on TMZ is Diddy betrays his own lawyer in secret video. They said Diddy is furious at Netflix for dropping 50 Cent's documentary on his own legal troubles, but some of the videos shot at Diddy's behest almost certainly had his criminal defense lawyer enraged. They said there's a video in the doc shot by a guy Diddy hired to chronicle his life. He's talking to Mark Agnifilo. Yana, about his impending arrest. Diddy is enraged at Agnifilo and his entire legal team, barking that they're losing the case. Diddy has fired off a demand letter to Netflix. They said, but here's the deal. There's a true victim in all this.
Shout out to you,
a man who won the criminal case for Diddy, Mark Agnifilo. Yana, we're told he did not know Diddy had someone recording the conversation when they spoke on the phone. Oh, what's the problem? You don't like consent? Oh, let me get this straight. Now that you've been taped without your permission, you know the meaning of consent, Mark Agnifilo?
Yeah, so basically the lead attorney right here is upset about this whole situation of him being recorded, and along with some of the other attorneys. Go ahead.
Okay, so in the documentary, very quickly, the documentary started with this phone call. They kept showing this clip of Diddy being on the phone in the hotel with Mark.
Yeah, when he was telling them we're losing. I don't care what you got to do, whatever, we're losing. Yeah, okay, I bet.
Do you remember the context in depth in that call? Diddy wanted them to get someone within the United States or outside of the United States that knows how to deal with media and propaganda. Look at the context that conversation was. It wasn't like a regular, you're facing 20 years. It was like Diddy specifically asked this team to help him railroad the public.
That's crazy.
So look at the documentary and you hear Mark like, well, we can find someone. That's what he's mad at.
Maybe so, but let's see. Let's go.
That was very incriminating. Like, it messes up his brand too of that conversation. The second thing, you see in the documentary where the videographer is there by the elevators in the hotel before he was arrested. And Mark tells him, don't film me. You can't film. And you see the camera goes down. It goes black. He did not want to be filmed. So that's 2 times. Diddy knew during that time that Mark really didn't like that videographer shit when he was speaking to him. So
the videographer stuff. Yeah, you got to censor yourself. Go ahead.
Videographer stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
And he was warned already. Why would you? Diddy isn't that smart. It reminds me of what he asked Kirk Burroughs to do, to take pages out of Biggie's contract and switch the pages of the signed agreement so it could mean something else, and he didn't want to do it. This is along those lines. Like, he's dumb. I'm on mute.
All right, let's go.
You are most certainly enraged because Diddy filmed you without your... What's wrong? You got paid, did you? Right? Because from what I heard, you was buck wild in court. You was wilding out, Mark Agnifilo. What's the matter? Hey, didn't you? You got 20 million reasons not to mine. Didn't you say Cassie had 30 million reasons? Not to care about what Sean did to her? Didn't you say in your closing argument, Mark, this is a modern day love story between a client and his lawyer. Please, seal with a kiss. What's the problem? Didn't you get paid, Mark? What's the problem?
I like how she talking about consent, since that was a big deal in Diddy's trial, guys. She's really throwing shade when she's saying, you got a problem with consent? Oh, not Mark. Oh, she's throwing shade at him because that was a big part of the trial.
But he didn't know. When he found out, he told Diddy he was wrong. So even though she's throwing shade, like he was the victim, the women, they went along with it. Even, you know what I mean? They never expressed no. Right? So this is where I'm like, she's reaching out. Because Mark clearly said in that documentary, please don't film this conversation. The camera went down. And so I know he wasn't aware of the hotel when he was talking about that propaganda. And the reason why that conversation was so bad, yes, he does get paid no matter what. But it really is an integrity and character issue. He's a big, it makes him look like very lowbrow. You know what I mean? If he's, you know what I mean? I could see how he's defending his firm now and his comrades. It's not a good look for an attorney to be talking about, lying to the public. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. All right, let's go.
What's the problem? Oh, now you know the meaning of consent.
Oh
I would
my
say it's
God.
like having another
Yeah, I ain't
person in
finna
the
do
room
all
that
these
knows
commercials. They gonna make me switch it over real fast.
You have a problem with people taking away your agency, and just because you agreed to work with Diddy and you got $20 million doesn't mean you gave him consent to do all this stuff, right? That's funny. Anyway, right now, Mark's the real victim. Oh, really? Now listen to what Garrigo said. That's also part of his legal team and was helped running. Well, his PR firm was. It doesn't matter. Listen to Garrigos, all right? Because Tenney was
This is
Mark's
Mark.
lawyer.
This
And
is
again,
Mark. They got this from TMZ.
Mark Agnifili on the line. That means they Tenney. That means they got Westmoreland. That means they got Xavier. That means they got Brian Steele. That means they got Shapiro. And that means they got Rico, not Case, but the lawyer Rico before he exited. Listen, and remember when he said he was leaving because of ethical concerns? He could in no conscience with his ethics work on this. Why did Rico,
the black dude.
The lawyer, exit the case? What was Diddy asking them to do, and why was he?
Wasn't that the black dude? I think that was the black dude.
Yeah, that was the only black attorney he had, and he left.
Yeah, that was the one that was talking. He specialized in the unalive penalty, and it was a mystery of why he would bring him on, and Diddy wasn't facing that type of charge.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, but here's the thing. You do know in the first Rico, but it wasn't admissible. All right, this is why I didn't want to do all of that extra stuff down at the courts, because I already knew. They did try to get Tupac, Biggie, and Kim Porter's unaliving and missed, entered into this so that it could be it didn't stick. I really do believe they're building a case separately for those three people, and this documentary is the catalyst for it. I do believe the feds will go back to this team because he's not going to have enough money to pay for anybody. He thinks it's over. That is what the strategy is, just like OJ, to make him broke. So when they really go after him, he's crippled. And they're doing an excellent job. Excellent job. He is done. He thinks, that's why he sent 50 Cent those daisies. Because this documentary is really bad on so many levels.
Man, but if I was Diddy, I knew that this dude had been recording all this type of stuff right here, and then he hit me up with his price, I probably would have just paid him, because Lord have mercy. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, like, boy, this done stirred up. This done opened a whole another can of worms.
Yeah, we are watching Diddy's downfall right now.
Yeah, this may be the real downfall. Not as far as going to the pen.
No, this
type. Yeah. This is bad. Yeah, this is bad. You got your attorneys mad at you. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty bad. But let's go.
He like, I'm getting away with this, and why is Mark so worried? But listen to this.
8 nuclear bombs, straight to the head. And I'm tired of going back and forth with y'all, with the lawyers. That's just not true. Okay, so no. Let me tell you something. Let me.
It's a shame when consent is taken away, isn't it? Mark, you having a freak off with your reputation.
I'm not a referee, so I'm gonna get off the phone right now. Listen to me.
You a demon
right now, and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. No matter what nobody said. Let's just here and there, y'all are not working together the right way. We're losing.
And that's what you talking about to start out with.
Diddy got on the phone with Mark Agnifilo, his lawyer. Diddy knew that.
First of all, Harvey, it's Agnifilo.
Let me do this. Let's take time to double tap that screen, guys. If you have not, that's how you hit that like button, or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up. If you like the entertainment that you're receiving right now, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It'll be most definitely appreciated. Let's continue.
Anna. Okay, let's go. When I heard that, I was like, who's Mark Agnifilo?
Was being recorded but Diddy didn't tell Mark. Is Mark will be prayed by Diddy?
I've not talked to Mark about it.
What do you think?
What do you think? I will tell you, I'll just tell you, if it was me, I would be more than a little upset. I was more than a little upset when the client didn't know and I was being recorded. I mean, there was a while where I was meeting clients under bridges, freeway bridges, because I was PTSD over it. So
exactly,
I think.
Oh God.
No, but hey,
exactly
really,
what?
Listen, exactly. I've seen attorneys do a lot of weird shit. You can be a I'm sorry, a lot of weird things, and you could go to the dinner or lunch, but they'll wait till you walk out to your car to pass a note of what the meeting was about, just so no one sees it, no one hears it. I've seen them do some crazy stuff. So when he says, I meet clients underneath the bridge, just to tell them that and then come out on the porch, I've seen that all the time. For a case like this, high profile, I couldn't imagine them not doing things like that, meeting under bridges. It's Diddy, and it's serious. It's just so sloppy, and I don't think there's not one attorney in the US of A that would not be pissed if their client did this.
Absolutely.
It's bad.
Yeah, it is bad. I said that. It's horrible. You know, Diddy could have been basically in this situation is his own poison, guys. He did it to himself. I'd have paid that person. I ain't lying.
Oaths that you take to protect the client confidentiality and the client privilege. So I don't know. I haven't talked to Mark, but if I were Mark, I would be out of my head.
Again, they literally said in this, Diddy screwed over his own lawyer in a secret video. What's the matter? What's the matter? Like it when people take away your consent? You don't like that just because you did agree to do one thing, they took advantage of you? What's the matter? Didn't you get paid money? Just like you said Cassie did? I thought money made everything to go away. You did all that for a man and he still screwed you over. Oh, God. Anyway, let's get into the commentary. Because at the end of the day, the footage that they did show makes Mark Agnifilo look incompetent. It made Diddy look like he the boss. He running things, okay? Mark Agnifilo was rightfully so very, very proud.
Let's not get it misconstrued. He was most definitely running everything. Diddy was running everything. He was supplying the money. Even through the trial, it looked like Diddy was telling them what to do and what not to do. And he was the client, not the lawyer, but he was running the show.
The one he got. If you guys don't know, I was in the dock, but I was also in the elevator when Mark Agnifilo left court, right? And everybody was congratulating him on the good job he did. It was like 6 of us in the elevator. And Mark looked like he had won the Heisman Trophy. And you know what? Honestly, I think him defending that monster was morally bankrupt. But even, Mark Agnifilo did the damn thing with Diddy's team. Again, he did what he was supposed to do. Throw dirt in the eye of justice, confuse people, give alternate narratives. And that's what he did. If anything, you want to talk about the jurors and the public that actually swallowed it, right? Mark did it. And he was his wife sat in front of me the last few days of court, right? And Mark, and she had been, they worked together as a team. But here's the thing. Mark was in the elevator and he was so proud. And I remember somebody was like, how do you feel? And he was like, I just feel like I won like Super Bowl. He said something, I'm trying to think of the exact words, but basically just saying like he feels like he just, biggest case of his life. The closing argument, his wife said that he thought that was the best she said that was the best closing argument, this is inside tea, that she's ever seen Mark give. Mark was super nervous, a lot was on the line, and he came through, and that whole legal team made legal history. Okay,
What if you
create
your own website by saying, this is what I...
Yeah, most definitely gonna switch it over.
However, to have Mark in the documentary with Diddy talking to him like he's stupid, barking instructions, doing all the time. That's very humiliating. It makes it look like that wasn't Mark and the team's win. It was Diddy's win because Diddy was running the shots, right? Also, remember how in the documentary, and this is the deep part, remember how in the documentary, all right, Diddy was telling Mark, you do this, you got to do that. And then Mark was on TV saying, well, they were two consensual people, basically making it look like he was Diddy's errand boy, right? Say that they might be upset about that. And it's very humiliating. And it makes it look like Diddy won the trial, not Mark. But forget all that, because there's even a deeper reason. Because here's the thing. And it makes me think, what was they talking about? People are saying that the footage that they used was one thing, but they are in possession of all the footage. And Mark and Diddy and his teams had a lot of phone conversations.
Trish, there's more.
No, that's her alluding that if it was something damaging, they would have used it. I think there's been other conversations, but it was like airy. I do agree with that, but not as damaging as that clip that they kept playing in that documentary in episode 1, 2. I think they played every episode, and it was the same clip, and it was very damaging. And 50 Cent, Alex knows what they were doing. This is an agenda to take Diddy down. That's whole documentary, and just the footage alone was so damn.
She says more.
Yeah,
Lord,
but here's the thing. Even if there's more, I believe they picked the most damaging taped conversations, and we saw it, and that's really bad. I can't. If it was worse than that conversation, they would have inserted it. You know what I mean?
In your opinion, we never know. All we know right now is that there's more.
Right, but what else could it be? What else could it be?
I don't know. I won't know unless they release it. It might be a part 2 coming.
Oh my! Oh.
Yeah, you can't leave out the sequel. It could be a part 2.
No. If just the thought of 50 Cent releasing just all of the video. Forget about a documentary. Just release all the footage.
Man.
Whew. Let me go on mute. I'm excited.
Something to think about. Let's go.
Yeah.
And Diddy instructed them to do a lot of stuff. And they might have agreed to do a lot of things. Now, I'm not saying there is something illegal in what Diddy did, and I'm not saying they did anything that helped assist Diddy in jury tampering, witness intimidation, finding out stuff with the grand jury, doing things that they should have been doing. No, I would never suggest that. They are men of God and men of integrity. It's not like they were out there defending a monster and literally doing all these tricks to make the dummies on the jury feed into their pick-me and generational abuse and woman beater ways. No, I would never suggest that. However, regardless of what the reason is, they are saying that Mark Agnifilo and all lawyers are upset. Again, they want to know the extent of what did he taped, how he taped it, and how long. And for everybody saying, oh, well, that's attorney-client privilege. See, you're still listening to Diddy's dumbness. Because, hear me out on this. Remember when I told y'all a few videos ago, but let me just get to the point, Tisa, right? Attorney-client privilege is only when there is a reasonable expectation of privacy. What does that mean?
Trish, here you go.
We have got to the point where
this
literally
will be your part,
anybody
Trish, where you was talking about the attorney-client privilege. Let's see if y'all agree.
We're all sitting in the middle of a crowded restaurant, and I'm talking.
Remember the scenario I gave you?
And we're on the phone. You hear this? And somebody goes and repeats it. Because I said it in public. Attorney-client privilege does not exist.
Oh.
Because no one thinks in New York where there is.
She's half right. That's what I told you about the attorneys. You'll go out with them for lunch, okay? And you won't talk to them at the table in a crowded restaurant. That's why no one does that. So she's right. But in real life, they won't do that in a crowded room. They wouldn't talk about the case. They'll talk about everything else. And when you're walking out to your car, you're walking out to whatever, you're in the elevator, and you're in there by yourself, going up, going down, and somebody gets off the elevator and it's just you two, then you talk. That is not realistic. What she's saying, no one does that. Because there's so many people there's so many ops in the world and so many competitors. They do all types of things. They would never be that sloppy. So no, he wouldn't. But here's the thing. This is what I don't like about Tisa Tells, and I love her, but I don't like this about her reporting. She concentrates on the wrong thing.
I like Tisa.
Yeah, I do. But she concentrates on the wrong thing, and I'm going to give you a scenario and we can get back. When she covered the trial,
she was biased.
She was extremely biased. She reported on, the abuse, the domestic violence, all of that. It had nothing to do with RICO. I'm sorry. What if she was really, really in tune with that case? She would have concentrated on D-Rock, Biggie's best friend. She barely touched that story, but it's going to come out in the next trial with this being a catalyst, because Mark had all of that information thrown out about D-Rock, convincing, being the one with Kirk Burroughs, convincing Biggie to go to LAX instead of the UK. It was his best friend. But then he became best friends with Diddy. So these are the intricate details that I thought would be touched in the documentary, but it wasn't. I'm okay with it. This is better, okay? Because all of it's going to come out now, because they don't have client attorney privilege anymore. If the feds go to the attorneys right now, they could be subpoenaed and they can spill everything. And Diddy's messed up. He's gone.
Okay. I bet. Let's go.
You only need one person to consent to record a conversation, right? Nobody talking in public sensitive information has a reasonable expectation of privacy. However, if I are in my lawyer's office, or if I am in my office, or we are in my home, or at my lawyer's home, or if I'm surrounded just by my lawyer and we are in a semi-private area, that's when attorney-client privilege. You don't have attorney-client privilege because you taped your lawyer without their permission, because you are in a one-tape state, which means you don't need the second person's permission. Only one person involved in the conversation taping has to give consent. You taped Mark Agnifilo without his permission, all right? You taped him without his permission. And get this, you taped him without his knowledge. You destroyed attorney-client privilege through your own ego, because I don't care what y'all say. Diddy really thought that he was never going to get arrested. He thought he was going to beat the case, and he thought he was going to have a documentary being like, yeah, what y'all thought this was, doing the tour, laughing, Diddy bopping. He's probably making a sequel to Every Step You Take, probably written about Cassie and Alex Fine, and I'm not even joking. Now that we know what time it's on, that makes Alex Fine look like a soldier, because he was like, if you want it, come get it. Alex Fine ain't never been scared, but he probably had a song, Diddy bopping on Alex or Cassie's grave. Every step I take, right? Have y'all seen that? I always knew he was a fraud, even when he was Diddy bopping. I said, anyway, right? He thought he was going to beat it. He thought this was going to be his victory lap, and he thought the footage would make him let everybody know, because Diddy's ego was so big, he didn't want anybody.
I agree. He most definitely thought that he was going to beat all this, and that's why he recorded all this.
She was He's
I
1,000%
agree.
on that. Me too. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Agree with
Remember,
everything.
I think I even told you that the other day. I was like, yeah, it wasn't no
Absolutely.
mystery. Yeah, real talk. Yeah, I most definitely, I agree. I agree.
I didn't even think his lawyers got him out. He wanted the world to know that it was his mind, his brain, his whatever. That might be true, but I doubt it very much because your mind and your brain right now, I bet you Mark Agnifilo would have been like, Yana, Diddy needs to free up things because he needs to pay his videographer. I bet you would actually told Mark Agnifilo what was going on. Mark Agnifilo would have been like, you lost your ever-loving mind. Mark Agnifilo would have been like, pay them. Mark Agnifilo would have made sure that you actually paid the filmmakers. Mark Agnifilo will make sure that you kept your ego in check and realized. But then again, according to Diddy's sources, Mark Agnifilo was the one, the whole team saying that he was 100% gonna get off. And just in case y'all don't believe me, TMZ actually wrote an article about this too.
I dare you to let me build you.
Never again. Okay, so that was that on that. You know what I'm saying? That was that on that. So Tisa Tales, basically explained it out. The attorney-client privilege, whether you think she was wrong or right. Yeah, she most definitely explained the situation that's going on with Diddy and his attorneys. Kind of looks like Mark Agnifilo may be upset, about being recorded without his permission.
Not maybe. This and rightfully so.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all behind the release of this documentary.
This is definitely not alleged.
Fish.
He was pissed. Okay. Definitely not alleged. I know I would be. And there's other attorneys, here's the thing. This is the bad thing, right? Just say there is another RICO case that comes about. And it's, the feds already lost the first one with their 97% success rate. They're not going to lose again. Okay? They're not going to lose. And here's the gag. Who's going to represent Diddy after this stuff? I'm on me.
He's going to have to get him. He's going to have to find him some other attorneys. You know what I'm saying? Ones that are not blocked. Mad at him. Shout out to Unserious, man. I hate you got blocked over there, my guy. Go ahead.
Mahia, listen to me. Do you know you don't even have to be an attorney to see what Mark and his team is going through. It's the client from hell who breaches their own client attorney privilege. Who would be willing, no matter how much money, right? Because they got paid $20 million and they're still pissed.
Yeah.
Got it? Who would want to take this case? Who? I'm on mute.
Somebody looking to make the money. You know what I'm saying? Somebody looking to make some money will most definitely take this. A broke lawyer will most definitely jump on this. Diddy is a multi-millionaire. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, a billionaire.
He going to jail.
He already in jail.
No, he going to jail again.
I bet. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and I hear you. All right, guys. So before we get up out of here, one last one, man. These are my people over here at Law and Crime. They always break down, with the breakdown and here's with nothing but the facts. So we most definitely got to get to them. This is 9 shocking things that were revealed in the Diddy documentary, guys. Let's go.
And sex trafficking trial and jurors who heard weeks of testimony. So we're not only going to dig into some of the biggest moments from this series, but also what Combs' legal team is doing because they are pushing back quite hard against the whole project. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Right now, Sean Diddy Combs is locked up in a New Jersey prison cell, serving a 4-year sentence after he was convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution during his very high-profile federal trial earlier this year.
Let's go. Make sure you subscribe, my guy. Make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Engage in racketeering, as well as 2 counts of sex trafficking. Now, the allegations against Combs, they have dominated the headlines since November of 2023. That's when his ex, Cassandra Ventura Fine, filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the music mogul, claiming he abused her during their 10-year relationship. And since then, he's not only faced this criminal trial, but also dozens of civil lawsuits that were filed on behalf of alleged victims. And many of these...
And when they talk about these civil ones, they just keep coming and coming and coming. Lord, he in jail and they're still coming. Go ahead.
Can we talk about the portrait?
With this one right here?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to. I know what you're going to
Diddy is so dramatic, okay? Look at him. Thank God. Oh, get the hell out of here. I mean, heck out of here.
Either that or he wanted to sniff the seat.
Oh my God.
Man. You're about to be on Combs' radar. Well, I should have been on there a long time ago.
No, we not. We sidewalk gang. We just
yeah, absolutely. I should have been on there months ago. I've been covering Diddy since when they first took him to jail.
Yeah. So
yeah, I ain't worried about that.
When it comes down to this situation with Diddy, what do you think is going to... What do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to wait for him to come out of jail? Or do you think they're going to charge him while he's doing his 50 months?
Well, it depends. How strong whatever evidence is, that they have. If they feel like they got something gonna keep them in there, they're gonna try their best to keep them in there. But hey, on the other hand, like I said, man, money is power. Diddy is a multi-millionaire, perceivably a billionaire, and he got a lot of money to throw around. So I don't know how this is gonna go exactly. It all depends on whatever kind of evidence they have.
I don't think he has that much money left. I really
his company is still rolling. Never think that it stopped. He got people on the outside. He got his hands tied, and it's all type of other businesses. Man, he most definitely still make money. Not to mention, you got to remember he rent his jet out. All type of stuff. Diddy got some revenue coming in. Don't think he broke.
Okay, so they took a big hunk of it with this trial. They're going to come back and double down. What is he going to have left?
I don't know. We just have to wait and see if they actually double down.
But here's
the eggs before they hatch.
Even if he did, and this is a sad part, you gotta hear this part. Kirk Burroughs, again, I have to bring this guy up because he is the key. He's
No, I don't think they froze his assets. I don't think they did. He got everything in his. He was smart. Yeah. One thing about Diddy, he was smart. He put everything in his mama.
I'm about to say that. That's what I was about to get into. They didn't freeze his assets because he has nothing in his name. However, in the documentary, Kirk Burroughs gave good reason on why everything was in his name. So they're coming after all of his assets with Janice and Justin for sure. If and only if they have a RICO, because then it's funnel money. They know now that he did certain things, he moved certain things a certain way to put his assets in his mom and son's name. Everyone knew that for years, so people could come after him. But I think that documentary, going back to the doc, changed that. And I'm telling you, it's brilliant, this documentary, on so many levels. But you guys don't see it now. I told you this before, Mahia. You didn't believe they was even coming after Diddy. I remember. We talked about it. I can't.
Yeah, we did.
I can't help but to say, I told you so again. But I told you, you got on the panel. You're like, nah, y'all dragged me. Y'all did all of that. Now, I'm telling you again, they're gonna get him. They're gonna get him. Then they're going to go after.
And I'm not saying they're not. I'm saying we just gonna have to see.
You know that I know what I'm talking about. And then they're going to go after Jay.
You think they're gonna go after Jay-Z too?
1,000%. But they're going to have to go after him a different way because he's a smarter type. He's smart. He's a totally different animal.
Mel One, what's up, my guy?
So,
I hear you. Let's let it play. We got to get up out of here eventually. You know what I'm saying? Let's let it play some.
Suits include claims of sexual misconduct and rape and more. But to be clear, Combs and his legal team, they adamantly denied any and all accusations of wrongdoing. Since Combs' arrest at the Park Hyatt Hotel in Manhattan in September of 2024, there have been several documentaries that have been released about the rapper's rise to the top of the music industry. There have been shows about his trial. But one of the most anticipated retrospectives is from a reportedly years-long rival of Combs, rapper Curtis Jackson, better known as 50 Cent. He is the executive producer of this project, initially teasing it with the title Did He Do It? But the series was retitled Sean Combs, The Reckoning. It was released on Netflix on December 2nd, and it has skyrocketed to the top of the charts. In fact, 50 Cent posted on his Instagram on Wednesday, #1 on Netflix. You know, if you really like this docuseries, I'll make more, LOL. Now, the documentary's director, Alexandra Stapleton, said in a statement,
if you really like this documentary, I'll make more footage. Remember what I told you a while ago? There could be a part 2. I just told you.
Whoa!
Yeah, if you really like this documentary, I'll make more. We'll buy the rest of the footage that they have, and we'll go right back through there.
Crazy. Okay, I'm on me. Wow.
Yeah, man. You know, So you know, it could possibly be a part 2 to this controversial documentary that just dropped and set the world as well as the hip hop world on fire.
LOL. Documentary director Alexandra Stapleton said in a statement to Billboard, quote, "This isn't just about the story of Sean Combs or the story of Cassie or the story of any of the victims, allegations against him or the trial. Ultimately, this story is a mirror reflecting us as the public and what we are saying when we put our celebrities on such a pedestal. I hope this documentary is a wake-up call for how we idolize people and to understand that everybody is a human being." Okay, but here's the thing. Just one day before the series was set to air, Combs' attorneys sent a cease and desist letter to the streaming giant, calling the documentary essentially a hit piece, demanding it be removed. Now we're going to take a closer look at that letter, the arguments that Combs' team is making for all of this to be taken down. But first, I want to talk about some big...
This is why I turn to Law and Crime, because they be having all the paperwork. Yeah, and they tell you the facts, man. Whether you like it or not, they tell you the facts.
Maybe most shocking moments from the series, and then we'll get to the C&D letter. So to do all that, I want to welcome back on Elizabeth Vulai, legal counsel here at Law and Crime, who knows a thing or two about the inner workings of the media and when things are brought in. But you also watched the entire show. Elizabeth, it's good to see you. Thanks for taking the time. Now you watched all of it. What was your main takeaway from the series? As somebody who actively followed the Diddy criminal case, has been here on Sidebar talking about the case, talking about his civil cases that he's facing. What was your main takeaway?
Yeah, there were a couple of takeaways. I think it was a really sort of original documentary, well put together. There were 4 episodes, usually most of them around an hour long, so it's very thorough. I think the 2 key takeaways were, 1, everybody's talking about access to this footage and where it came from. One of the things that I think Diddy had done was he said he'd hired a videographer. He's someone who films himself, as we've come to know, for most of his career and life. So he had hired this photographer to kind of follow him through this process. I'm not sure if the thinking was, he thought that he might evade charges and come out with his own documentary afterward. But just the access footage that we get, we hear him speaking to his legal team. It's very rare you get an insight into that because, again, that's usually covered under attorney-client privilege. So speaking to his legal team, kind of his own thoughts about what was going on, because also remember, at this point, we really haven't heard he talk much about this. He had issued an apology over that video of him and Cassandra Ventura in that hotel hallway.
And it was BS. It was rehearsed. It was coached. It wasn't sincere.
months before. But he hadn't really given any interviews to the media. He hadn't spoken about it, probably unadvised his attorneys. So getting access to that kind of information was really something that we had never seen before. It's what a lot of people are talking about. And I think the other thing that struck me was how in depth it went. You know, there's been a lot of documentaries and coverage on the Diddy case. People are covering allegations, him and Cassandra Ventura. But, you know, one of that goes into his history with Biggie and Tupac and insinuation there, and kind of going a little bit deeper into his upbringing and his career, a little bit further on a lot of other people have covered.
By the way, yeah, we're talking cease and desist letter here, potential legal action, financial repercussions. You might not relate to all this. Let me tell you something that a lot for Americans relate to. Credit card debt. Okay, this is real. This is every call, every fee, every option for you, right? He was watching.
Okay, let's go back.
Yeah, and it wasn't even really about the trial. Debt.com/sidebar. Yeah, it wasn't even really about the trial, maybe because that was oversaturated, maybe because everybody was watching our coverage here on Law and Crime, the trial. And by the way, found out that my voice and Elizabeth Milner's voice, Queen Elizabeth, were both in the documentary, I think in episode 4 when it was going into the trial.
Diddy said, gotcha. So they was in the documentary too. He done implicated Law and Crime off in there. Lord have mercy.
Or in his arrest. You know, it was interesting. I'll talk more. I am curious about what you think of that footage, and we'll talk about how it factors into the cease and desist letter. First of all, no attorney-client privilege, because if he is actively, deliberately, knowingly recording that, the privilege, anything that he says to his attorney, that's
right on body.
Correct. So that was one of the first thoughts I had is, he's speaking to Mark Agnifilo, who's the lead attorney on his legal team. They're talking about, overall case strategy, the indictment that they expect to come down. My first thought was, we've seen this before. This must be privileged. But again, you forget there's a videographer in the room. So when you think about attorney-client communications, yes, that's usually covered under privilege.
Trish, attorney-client privilege. They talking about it on Law and Crime. See what they say.
So when you think about attorney-client communications, yes, that's usually covered under privilege. But if you have a third party that you're inviting into those communications, that's not necessary. Unless the person is an interpreter or maybe an accountant. If you have a videographer that's there not for legal reasons, you can make that argument that, the privilege is waived.
Privilege is waived.
Exactly. So I want to point out, if Diddy went to his legal team and said, hey, I am going to be digitally documenting my journey, and I just want to know if it's okay that some conversations are recorded for my own personal use, they would then have a chance to agree or disagree with that. And then there will be no privilege broken. But the fact that he did not inform them many times of the cameras rolling, that opportunity, it automatically is waived. Got it?
I got you. All right. Homebody Mama, he basically set himself up. Let's go.
And by the way, that conversation, the actual context of it, it's something that we always were thinking was going on behind the scenes. There was a sense of frustration about how the media and social media was portraying Diddy and the narrative. And he was like, we're losing. And he was getting a bit combative with Mark Agnifilo about what was going on. And he's like, look, I did everything. You said I'm basically an ideal client, a star client. I did everything you want. I came to New York. And he was just waiting to see if he would be arrested and indicted. And that was a bit of tension there, which it's a rare behind the scenes glimpse of what those conversations and what those moments are between an accused and their defense attorney before the hammer drops.
Yes, very rare. And that's, I think, one of the things that struck me and what a lot of people are talking about. Again, you don't usually get a window into that. I think the push and pull was, in the conversation, Mark Agnifilo said, look, an indictment hasn't been dropped yet. The indictment came down September 16th of last year. And Mark Agnifilo had said it's mid-September at that point. So I think the indictment was really just about to drop. So at that point, you have Diddy who, he said, look, I've come to New York. I've basically surrendered. His legal team is taking the position you have to cooperate and kind of show that you're here ready to take this head on. But then Diddy's sort of saying, we need to get someone out there on the comms front as somebody who is, in his words, has dealt with the dirty side of media and propaganda. So I think what Diddy was trying to say was, there's nothing to be done legally on the criminal front because no indictment had been dropped yet. But in the court of public opinion, it seemed like he wanted to take a more aggressive approach to put a certain message out there. And his attorney seemed to think the opposite.
And just to be clear,
that's exactly what he was doing. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
So, do you know how bad that looks? That forget about the legal stuff. Let's get dirty, attorneys. That's what that conversation said. Let's take it to the top. It was crazy. I was like,
man,
we had a conversation like this on the phone. Because even if they had the capabilities, man, you don't have conversations like that on the phone. Always in person.
He shot himself in the foot. In so many words, he popped himself in the foot. Hey man, y'all take time to double tap that screen. If you have not, that's how you hit the like button, or click those 3 dots, hit that thumbs up, and most definitely subscribe to the channel if you're new. Go ahead, Trish.
All I'm saying is smash it. This is crazy work, and I'm like, I never seen any. He's a billionaire or was a billionaire. The mistakes he made along the way was driven by ego, narcissism, and he really thought that he was above the law, because I don't think you would have made these mistakes. I know I would.
Absolutely not.
What?
I think that he really thought he was gonna beat it. He thought he was gonna beat it, man, and he was preparing himself for when he beat it, to basically be able to drop this documentary on his own. And he looked to make a lot of money from it if he beat it, but he didn't, and now it's backfiring.
It's almost like calling the cops on yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go.
So the documentary begins with this shot of Combs in his hotel room in New York. This is, I believe, just 6 days before his arrest last year. Turns out Combs had hired this videographer to film him while he's in New York. The documentary's producers got their hands on this footage, and he's talking on speakerphone with Mark Agnifilo, this high-powered attorney, who is, by the way, just one of several lawyers he would have on his multi-person legal team, and says that more needs to be done to help his public image, that it appeared to him like they were losing. And remember, again, this is before he was officially indicted and arrested. Now, apparently he knew it was coming, been under investigation for months at this point. In a statement to NBC News, Combs' publicist, Judah Engelmeyer, said, quote, "The footage was created for an entirely different purpose under an arrangement that was never completed, and no rights were ever transferred to Netflix. A payment dispute between outside parties does not create permission for Netflix to use unlicensed private material. None of this footage came from Mr. Combs or his team, and its inclusion raises serious questions about how it was obtained and why Netflix chose to use it." Now, Elizabeth.
The legal side. The legal side. Hey.
No, that's not the legal side. Let me tell you what.
This was from one of the
attorneys, right? He didn't know at this time that Diddy didn't pay that videographer. So then there's no arrangement that was broken, idiot. See, they made these statements after seeing it. No one knew, even after 50 Cent was going on interviews, that how he obtained the footage. It just came out yesterday how he obtained. So during this time, there's no way the attorneys knew how he obtained. They just said, no, this breach. Blah, blah, blah. But now they know that Diddy did not pay the videographers for all that work, slaving them to death. And we know 50 gave him money, then took the videographers to Netflix and got quadruple, paid. They got over like a fat cat, got paid. The rights are now owned by Netflix, not even 50 Cent. Netflix paid 50. Netflix paid the videographer. 50 paid Alex to get it done for the project. Who are the attorneys and Diddy's going to sue? Netflix, they obtained it legally. So did 50. The only person that broke the agreement and contract was Diddy who did not pay the invoices for the work. Got it?
Well, they saying, yeah, I understand. They say the footage that was created for an entirely different purpose under an arrangement that was never completed and no rights were ever transferred to Netflix.
There are no rights when you don't pay.
They saying that they never completed the arrangement. Whatever arrangement it was for them to do, they didn't get paid because they didn't complete it.
No, they was asking for the money for weeks. And then, and this was after he was indicted. They never got paid, so they went to 50.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is, well, according to the attorneys, they saying that work was completed. The work wasn't completed. Basically, that's why the people didn't get paid. And since the work wasn't completed, that didn't give them the right, to basically go sell off what they had. That's what they saying. They just said it right there.
I know, but here's the thing. This is where it went wrong.
Remember, okay, go ahead.
This is where it went wrong. This one word, right? It wasn't that the work wasn't completed. Diddy said, I'm not paying for all those hours. I'm not paying. It's too much. And left the boys hanging. Okay? So when you say you're going to pay me for service and you don't pay me, right? You go to a car dealership. I want that car. Okay. It's this much. All right, here's a deposit, but this is how much it is to drive it off. If not, you lose your deposit and we keep the car. If you don't make this deadline. That is like invoices. You get invoiced, there's a due date on that invoice. You got to pay by that due date or you lose the service. And the thing is, this is what makes it crazy. They waited 5 months after the due date to still try to get the money. And Diddy told these guys to go themselves. I'm not paying.
Yeah.
So that's what caused the videographers to feel abused, betrayed. They did all this work. And not only that, they didn't get paid 1 red cent, not 1 penny, not half, not a quarter. They didn't get paid anything, man. So it was easy. If you don't give me any, it's my footage. I can do what I want with it. And everybody knows how waive and releases work. So this was premature statement. Now I'm sure the attorneys of Diddy are like, God, this idiot. Oh, they're going to talk. They know he's an idiot now. You didn't pay? Not even a deposit? That's what makes this the arrangement, not an arrangement at all.
Okay. All right. I bet. Let's continue.
Questions about how it was obtained and why Netflix chose to use it. Now, Elizabeth, we're going to talk more about what Combs' legal team has to say in this cease and desist letter, but what's your reaction to that?
Yeah, it's hard to say because there's still such a big question mark in the air because, Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, is one of the executive producers on the series. Him, the director, Netflix in general, is not saying where they got this footage, but it was obtained legally. Diddy's side is saying this is coming from a videographer I hired. I know we'll get into the cease and desist. One of the arguments they make is, this is subject to NDAs or agreements that the videographer had signed with Diddy because he was, employed by Diddy, and therefore the footage belongs to Diddy. That's the argument that they're making. So it's difficult to say because Netflix is not really saying how or where they got this footage from. One of the things that they did say was that it was sent to them legally. So, if you have the videographer sending the footage to them physically, that would be fine. But it does leave a question mark about where the legal rights are coming from. The only really avenue I see is if there's some way that the videographer had obtained a license for the footage, then the videographer would have the ability to take that license and then transfer the footage over to Netflix. But if the footage belongs to Diddy, then that's a little bit tough.
That's a good point. Okay, let's keep that in mind. We'll talk about that in a minute. I do want to talk about content.
Now, these are legal experts, Trish.
I know. They're just talking legal jargon. It's not reality. Another thing they're missing in this, the video cameras, the cameras that was used, was owned by the videographers. Look it up. It wasn't Diddy's production equipment either. It was theirs. Got it?
Got you. Let's go.
The series. So the series featured interviews with many people who were at one point in Combs' inner circle. This includes Aubrey O'Day, who was a member of the girl group Danity Kane, which was created on Combs' MTV show Making the Band. She has since accused Combs of basically grooming her, firing her for refusing to give in to his alleged sexual advances. We have Albie Shore, singer, songwriter, former record executive, dated Kim Porter before she was in a relationship with Combs. There's Roger Bonds, one of Combs' apparent former bodyguards, who's gone on the record to say that he knew Combs was allegedly physically violent with his then girlfriend. At one point in his interview with the documentary's producers, he said of Combs, "When I first met him, I liked him as a person because I didn't know him." You have Kalina Harper, who was part of Combs' group Diddy Dirty Money, released a statement supporting him after the third member of that group, Dawn Richard, had filed a lawsuit against Combs. And in the documentary,
I remember that part too. People's like, man, what's wrong with him?
Combs can be heard calling Harper to complain about the lawsuit, asking her to put out a statement. Former friend, business partner of Combs, who appears throughout the documentary, is Kirk Burroughs.
That's who you've been preaching about, huh? Co-owner of Bad Boy, huh? Kirk Burroughs.
He is amazing. He was the star of this documentary. It's early in the morning here in New York, and I'm going to watch it again after I get off.
All right, let's go.
Co-founder of Bad Boy Records. The two apparently worked very closely together for years. Burroughs served as the general manager, handling the rapidly growing company's funds. And according to Burroughs, when they started Bad Boy, Burroughs was given a 25% stake in the company, with the other 70% being in Combs' mother's name, Janice Combs' name. And we're going to get more into why Burroughs alleges it was set up that way in just a second. But according to Burroughs, Combs allegedly threatened him in 1996 with a baseball bat, forcing him to sign over his stake. So Burroughs apparently sued in 2000.
Forced him with a baseball bat, gangster, to sign over his rights to the company. Lord have mercy. Did it a gangster.
2003. The lawsuit was thrown out as too much time had passed since the alleged incident. And more recently, Burroughs sued Janice Combs for fraud, Combs himself for sexual harassment. This is according to a report from Cinemaholic. And those appear to be ongoing, by the way. Now, Burroughs claims that he was blacklisted from the entertainment industry, led to periods of homelessness. He's since re-entered the music industry, starting Pop Life Entertainment in 2018.
Thank you, Rika. Says, salute me here, at work, listening already. I appreciate you, Rika. Thank you.
This is per Cinemaholic. So, Elizabeth, there's a lot here, but what did you make of the Burroughs part where he was proving, this kind of relationship that he had, and that he was coerced into giving up his stake in what would become a multi-million-dollar company? I mean, I guess the allegation is basically that Diddy ruined his life.
Yeah, that was there are a lot of difficult moments in the documentary. I watched all 4 episodes as mentioned, and that was a tough one. And again, information that we hadn't really seen before in prior documentaries. So, this is someone who had co-founded Bad Boy Entertainment with him. A lot of the things he was saying seemed to kind of run along the theme that I think prosecutors were trying to push in the actual case, was that in the prosecutor's view, this is somebody who will do anything to basically get what he wants. He doesn't really care what effects or damage that causes to other people. And it's in different ways, right? Whether it's context, alleged abuse, business disputes, alleged sexual assaults, things that have been alleged in the civil lawsuits against him. And I think with Burroughs, it really, kind of seemed to strike that theme as well, because he's saying, he had forced me out of the stake of my company. He had to deal with things like homelessness, while in the 2000s and 2010s, Diddy was really prospering, music, business, fashion.
Yeah, he did your boy wrong.
Listen, the thing is, do you hear what she's saying?
I hear it all.
What Kirk Burroughs, and I thought this while watching it. That's why I'm going to watch it when I get down. But here's the thing. I really want to rewatch it. It will be the 6th time, promise you, to see if what Kirk really says, every word, can be used for the prosecution to bring Puerto Rico, because literally that's what he described. And then on top of that, the ending of that documentary he finally, he finally broke what everybody was thinking. He was essayed by Diddy. So this is Rico. This is Rico. His story is Rico. Not Cassie. This. Got it?
Okay. I got you. Let's go.
And one of the things that he had said, what he said, documentary, and again, this is an allegation from him, was that the name Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs's name was not really involved in that on the corporate side. And one of the things he's saying is the reason for that was to avoid having to pay any liability from, the devastating basketball game that had happened in the early 90s, where he was the subject of wrongful death lawsuits because of the multiple deaths that had occurred as a result of that basketball game that did behind organizing. So that was really, surprising to hear.
Yeah, that was a big allegation, because the families victim in that stampede, it was horrible. We're talking about December 28th, 1991. Combs fell in for Heavy D. They hosted this charity basketball game. Took place at the gymnasium of
Mahia. That right there is the most damaging thing ever. That is definitely Rico. You started a company so you can get out of paying for wrongful unalivement. Baby, this is juicy. This is it right here. Okay, not only that.
This is tea, guys.
This is hot, piping hot tea, and this is the gag. Okay, boy, oh boy, how long would it take for them to bring on the case? Because we know who the key witness is. Y'all already know who the key witness is, right? Kirk Burrs. He knows everything about this man. And the only reason why he's able to talk all these years later, that NDA is expired. That's it. Baby! Because they couldn't get him. That's why he wasn't featured through homelessness and all those other documentaries. He was still bound by NDA. 50 has great timing too. Ciao.
Well, it's about to get interesting in so many words. This dude is most definitely was a part of Bad Boy Entertainment, co-owner. You know what I'm saying? Knows a lot of the ins and outs, things of that nature. And yeah, like Trish said, the what is it? The NDA is up, and he's doing a lot of talking. Let's talk about it.
The City College of New York. And according to the New York Daily News, before the basketball game started, people who weren't let inside, they broke a window, swarmed toward the entrance of the gym, all went down a staircase, doors at the bottom of those stairs open towards the stairs, not towards the gym. So once a crowd got down there, they couldn't get the doors open and people started being crushed. 9 people died. Dozens of others were injured. And there were no criminal charges that were ever filed against anyone. Multiple families and injured victims, they filed lawsuits. And that's just one part, right? So I actually want to get into this too. The docuseries devoted
That's another thing that law and crime will never ever, because there are legal jargon. Can we talk about this documentary one more time? By episode 2, this Diddy already had 12 bodies. Man, 12
it's
bodies.
Crazy. You talk about the bodies, and they got Tupac and Biggie up there. But
yeah.
Continue.
Let's go. Wow.
Let's go.
A lot of time to the killings of Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls and Combs' alleged connections to this, to both men, obviously knew both of them. So there have been accusations made in the past that Combs' involvement in...
And I most definitely agree he had something to do with both of them. Just my opinion, allegedly.
Okay,
East Coast, West Coast.
I'm glad you set that ahead. So I believe there was talk about Pac because he couldn't stand to oh me. Woo! It was something deep. But I don't want you to get lost with details, right? So let me flip this for you. Allegedly, hypothetically, you was out with your boy. and he had a lot of enemies.
Uh-huh.
And he got pow. He was in the car with him. You got Grace. You know who did it to him. He admitted to taking your boy out.
Uh-huh.
Well, for the next 20, 25 years, you hanging out with the guy who not only pow-powed your friend and underlined them, that pow-powed you. But you're blaming somebody else. What I'm speaking of, Suge Knight hung out with Keefe D for 25 years after Pac passed.
Whoa.
How does that work?
That fuels the conspiracy.
Exactly. So that's why I'm not 100% sold that it was just solely Diddy. Got it?
Got it.
A lot of parts with Tupac. I'm on mute.
Let's go.
To this, both men obviously knew both of them. So there have been accusations made in the past that Combs' involvement in the East Coast, West Coast rap feud of the 90s, there was more than just talk, that it could have involved things like hit orders. Now, to be clear, these are allegations. There's no evidence to suggest this. This series, though, it emphasizes that he is never investigated or charged regarding their assassinations. Nevertheless, several interviewees during this documentary expressed that Combs' action seems suspicious in hindsight. The documentary plays part of an interview that Dwayne Keefe D. Davis did with investigators looking into Tupac's murder, which had become a cold case. On the tapes, Keefe D says that Combs agreed to pay him if he killed Tupac and also rival record label head Suge Knight. Now, Davis allegedly admitted that nephew Orlando Anderson was the one who shot the men, killing Tupac, injuring Knight. But Davis says Combs never came through with any payment. And by the way, Davis is currently awaiting trial for Tupac's murder in Las Vegas. Combs has always denied any involvement in the assassination. That was a big moment, I would say. Elizabeth, that was a big part of this. I didn't know that would be a part of this documentary.
I was really surprised as well. So I believe it's the second episode that dedicates a lot of time to it. And like you said, there have been insinuations in the past. They played video clips of, Sean Combs being asked in prior interviews in the 90s and 2000s, do you know, who killed these men? Did you have involved? He's always denied it. To be clear, these are just allegations. But yeah, that was really, really shocking. And one of the sort of a little bit more of the backstory behind his alleged involvement with Tupac was that a lot of the interviewees in the documentary were saying that Biggie, who was signed Bad Boy and who was really close with Diddy at the time, was starting to form a friendship with Tupac, and they were getting really close. And a lot of the interviewees were saying, in their view, Diddy didn't really appreciate that. So I think that a lot of the themes that you see again is coming up as him sort of wanting and needing to be the number one person in people's lives, whether it was personal, business. And it's really interesting because you see a lot of the themes that, again, the prosecution was trying to push forward. We saw in his personal life with Cassandra Ventura always needing to be number one, not necessarily regarding the damages he's doing to other people in the eyes, right? Playing out in the business sense. So the backstory is that he didn't appreciate the friendship that was forming between Biggie and Tupac. And that's where his alleged involvement came in. And then in terms of the non-payment, I think that was also a really shocking moment as well, because that's something we saw happening over in the documentary. Multiple people who were saying, I was cheated out of my share in the company. I wasn't paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. And allegedly, that's sort of how he did the artists that were on his label. So again, it's the theme of always wanting to be number one and, not necessarily giving people their due, business sense or personal sense.
Okay, so with that, I will tell you, I think one of the most shocking allegations comes to Biggie Smalls, okay? You talk about finance, one of the biggest names at Bad Boy, seemingly very close friends with Sean.
Boss, I really want to bring up two big facts about
Keisha.
Tupac and Biggie. Tupac's mom, Afena Shakur, passed away fighting for his estate and his masters.
Absolutely.
Same thing with Miss Wallace.
Same thing with them saying Tupac died with no money.
No, broke. Zero. Both dudes were broke when they passed. Because on one hand, Tupac was about to start his own thing, and Biggie was about to start his own thing, and they were going to partner and leave these two companies. So keep that in mind. yeah, everyone's pointing the finger at Diddy for Tupac, but I'm not going. It's too much out there that I can see how he could have did something. He could have set a tone and it didn't go through. But Keefe D with Suge Knight for 25 years. Would you hang out with a guy that allegedly supposed to have pow you with your best friend?
Said I ain't hear you. I was getting my coat. What'd you say?
Would you hang out, gallivant, be friend for 25 years after your alleged best friend or good friend or number one artist passed away? Would you, and he powed at you too? Would you hang out with this guy?
I don't think so. But till he stay on, I most definitely would.
Oh, okay. So, and then both of the parents of these men, these artists, passed away broke and broken-hearted because they couldn't fulfill their child's legacy through their masters. It's crazy. So, yeah, I understand the documentary put pieces together, but I think this wasn't an anti-Suge documentary. It was an anti-Diddy documentary. Just keep that in mind. I'm on mute.
All right, let's go.
Combs. Well, according to Kirk Burrows, Combs, and again, this is his allegation. According to Kirk Burrows, Combs insisted that Biggie travel to Los Angeles as part of an album tour. And this is despite, the serious dangers that were present from the rivalries, the East Coast, West Coast. And once there, Combs allegedly decided to cancel a trip that Biggie was supposed to take to the UK, instead saying he needed to stay in LA. Combs apparently threw a large party, and after which, someone opened fire on the car that Biggie was riding in, killing him. Now, Burrows alleges that Combs used all of this publicity around Biggie's murder and his massive funeral to just gain his own fame for his own benefit, shooting to the top of the charts with the song Missing You, which featured, by the way, Biggie's widow. But this was one salacious claim that I really wasn't expecting. According to Burrows, Combs allegedly charged the cost of that massive funeral to Biggie's estate and had Biggie's recently renegotiated contract changed to make it more favorable for Bad Boy Records and less favorable for Biggie's love after his death. Elizabeth, I guess that one wasn't expected.
Yeah, it was really unexpected. And again, I think it speaks to the strength of the documentary, creatively, and what they were able to get in terms of the interviewees, claims that we hadn't heard before. So the claims were that, he had wanted, in the documentary, the interviews talked about, Diddy had said, we need to put on the biggest funeral New York has ever seen for Biggie. And when allegedly, when he saw how much it would cost, that's when he had, be charging this to the estate, allegedly. One of the other things was...
and there you go with them saying that Biggie basically paid for his own funeral.
Listen, that right there. Oh, I got my hands are standing up. My hand. Do you know with 50 Cent, this documentary with that piece, just that piece, he has New York City. That's where I'm up on fire with this shit. With this thing. Sorry. Yeah, stuff. Sorry. I got too excited. But I'm letting you know that's all that's talked about. Biggie paid for his own. They are broken. That's crazy to me. Okay? It's crazy to everybody.
Wow, man.
Diddy will never, ever be able to live that down publicly. Not for the public. He lost New York with that. He lost New York completely. And 50 Cent, the way he smashed Ja Rule's career, with that little piece, with Kirk Burrows disclosing that, he lost New York forever. I'm telling you, he lost New York forever.
It's most definitely wild, man. That is crazy. Wow. All right, let's continue.
He had wanted to put out that song about Biggie after he had passed away, and that was really a big moment. He had performed it at the MTV Awards, And one of the other claims was, Biggie was set to debut on the cover of Rolling Stone, or at least be on the cover of Rolling Stone. And allegedly, in an interview, he says after he had passed, Sean Combs had called him and said, "I'm coming out with my first solo album. I need that cover." So Sean Combs had allegedly taken the cover from Biggie even after he had passed away. And again, it kind of rides to this theme of, in the public, his friend had passed away. He was devastated. But sort of what you see behind the scenes, at least what the documentary is alleging, is all the different ways he's using that to help benefit him financially and in terms of his career, something that we haven't seen before. And, even myself, like I'm sure you empathize, Jesse, as a millennial, we grew up seeing Diddy, knowing the backstory of him and Biggie, and sort of knowing that song and thinking, oh, they were close friends. He paid tribute to his friend. That's so moving. And then to hear all of these allegations, it really paints, another picture.
I remember when that happened. It was such a sad time. And to think about them dedicating a song to his close friend, I mean, it hit an emotional core. You looked at Diddy in a totally different light. Now, these again are a different narrative, a different allegation. We're trying to piece it together. I want to get into the jurors. Okay, so the jurors at the trial. Before we do, let me just highlight a couple more things, and then we'll get into the jurors and the cease and desist letter. So one grouping moment in the series, I got to call it out, came when Aubrey O'Day, again, this former Danity Kane member who spoke out against Combs after Cassie had filed her lawsuit, reads the affidavit from another unidentified person that detailed an alleged...
And Audrey most definitely is doing a whole lot of talking, man. You know what I'm saying? A whole lot of talking. I'm talking about a whole lot of talking. She ain't being, she most definitely is not being silent for nothing in the world. What's up, Trish?
So yeah, she did a lot of talking in the past. At first I was like, Aubrey, why 50 put her in here? Like, she never had nothing other than bad businessman to say about Diddy. And for years and years, they kept like, what happened to Aubrey? What happened to Aubrey? What happened to Aubrey? Everybody came out but Aubrey. So let me tell you what my opinion is, and it's not a fact. Okay?
So Aubrey's
mother, right? Aubrey's mother is the reason why she went on Making the Band. You heard that in the documentary. If you knew what Aubrey saw, you would understand why she was the way she was. But here's the thing. She is claiming that someone anonymous saw her get essayed by Diddy and someone else. She doesn't remember. She may have been. Huh?
No, I was talking to the comments. I said she said she was quiet for a long time. I said, yes, she was.
Yeah, but when we started talking, she never said she was that same victim. What was ill about this, right? You know what? Yeah, she's unsure. Right. That I believe she believed that something happened to her, but she couldn't say it. But she talked about everything else until that anonymous person who allegedly witnessed her say this about her. And they called Aubrey to do this documentary to get her natural reaction. And you could tell that she was unsure about this. I believe she is sure that that anonymous person was not lying. Okay? She's 1,000% sure. But because of whatever happened to her that they gave her, she can't remember. And that is, are we allowed to say what was in the baby oil? Hey, I don't want to say it.
Just saying there was some alleged chemicals.
Yeah, the alleged chemicals, good. The alleged chemicals that was in the baby oil came out even in this documentary. I mean, in a court trial, this is another thing. But hey, in the trial, they didn't allude that any chemicals were in the baby oil, even though they brought it up 90% of the trial. Right? Like, yep. Why?
They most definitely because like, when you gotta have proof, there was no proof.
Right. But here's the thing. This is another. I'm so glad. Keep it on Aubrey. I just got to pivot real quick. Remember the ex-worker that saw Cassie and Diddy for 9 years or something crazy stuff like that?
Yeah. I think that was what was his name? The freezer meat dude. Punisher. That was his name.
No, it wasn't Punisher. Punisher wasn't in this documentary. It was the dark skin guy.
Okay, I don't know him.
Hayes. I know him.
The bald-headed dude.
Yeah, no.
The other bald-headed dude, dark skin.
That's Punisher. The dark skin guy in the video, Punisher only saw him sort of on and off for some months. This guy saw him forever.
Yeah, I'm saying the other, he was bald-headed too. He was darker than the Punisher. He was a dark-skinned, bald-headed dude.
I forgot his name, but here's the thing. The key is Diddy, physically, he's the only ex-worker that Diddy had conversations with in length. And he claims, and this is another key witness, I know they're going to pull him. They brought Punisher for the first time. Punisher couldn't get anything. This guy has something. Diddy told him the G was in the baby oil. You don't remember that documentary? He said, Diddy told me
the chemicals was in the baby oil.
It was in the baby oil. So you got Kirk Burroughs that got evidence and testimony. You got this ex-worker that saw him for 6 times longer, and him and Diddy had conversations. He wasn't in a, cover. He knew it was Diddy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like this. So from Diddy Did It, the documentary, 50 Cent had all these claimants that had civil lawsuits. That was the initial concept of that documentary. And he made it so much better because I'm telling you, I didn't want to hear about anyone. We saw the lawsuit. Joy Neal. That's the only claimant that was in this documentary. She blew it away too. I'm glad they had her because she was believable. She sounded credible. And it's sad. It's so sad. This documentary, people say, oh, I didn't learn anything. I learned so much. And I followed this for years and years and years. And finally, things have that were out and was just rumors and not rumors anymore. He 50 and this team got these people.
Yeah, he got a good lineup. He did good on his lineup.
Sexual assault against her. And the affidavit, the witness said they walked in on Combs and another man performing sex acts on O'Day, who the witness said appeared to be heavily inebriated, was just lying there. And O'Day became emotional when she was reading this. She'd never actually seen this document, had only heard it read to her over the phone. And she said she had no memory of that happening to her, which is just, it's a really powerful moment. Someone else who worked closely with Combs was producer Rodney Little Rod Jones, who was also interviewed for the series. We've talked about him a lot here on Sidebar because he detailed several of the incidents that he had previously included in a lawsuit against Combs, including that he believes Combs drugged him on multiple occasions. He also,
I think Little Rod might have been with it allegedly, but that's just my opinion.
I
he worked he seemed like a fun boy.
You know why?
He seemed like a fun boy.
You know why?
Why, True?
I think maybe now, but I think he was a little eccentric, and maybe now.
Hey man,
I'm not going to put that on him. But I knew. Here's the thing about Little Rod that knocks this out the water, because I didn't know how credible he was until I saw this document. You know what made him credible? You know the G pow-powing in the studio? And with Justin and Diddy. It showed, this is what I'm saying, this is Rico, okay? Because the LAPD alleged that the pow-pow happened down the block. You know how we know that it happened in the studio? Little Rod took his phone and filmed the bathroom where it happened. We saw that in the documentary. It was, you know, BLOOP everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? He did it right after they took the guy out. He filmed it. Diddy told him to clean up. He filmed first. So I believe Little Rod did the right thing in that moment. There's no way he would have a case if he didn't do that. And Diddy, weird, goofy.
He don't got a case. They threw it out.
He's gonna have a case.
Well, the one he had, they threw that one out.
Let me tell you something. The only reason why we know that G guy existed and he was pow-powed in that studio is because of Little Rod. He was the one who filmed it with his phone, and they got that footage. There's no way Diddy can deny that pow-pow didn't happen. And he identified Justin to be the co-conspirator, his son. That's crazy. Like, this documentary, I just kept going.
The information was overwhelming, huh?
Yeah, I was overstimulated, dude. Go ahead.
I hear you.
I'm sorry.
All right, let's go.
Last album he put out, actually living with Combs during the time, but his allegation is he claims he never got paid for his work. And the documentary included alleged voice messages from Combs where he assured Little Rod that he would get paid eventually and that he was making a big deal out of nothing. But now I got to talk about the jurors. Okay, so we heard from 2 of the jurors who served on the jury during Combs.
If y'all haven't seen it, there was most definitely some jurors in there.
Right. So here's the thing. Let's go back and close out of Little Rod. Just an example of how Diddy plays people, takes advantage of people, not pay people. Okay? He promised him $29K for all that work, all that flying, 24/7, up days and days and days, and $29,000.
That's crazy.
So you don't think? Why wouldn't you think that the videographer's invoices was much more than that? You understand? He is. He's horrible. I can't believe he didn't pay. The guy produced this whole Love album. He didn't pay 1 red cent, man.
He was getting paid all right, another way.
I'm on mute.
Allegedly. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Trial. So juror 75 and juror 160. They spoke about the split verdict, with juror 75 saying, "We saw both sides of it and we came with our conclusion." Juror 160 said that she never felt like Combs was being coercive toward the jury, agreeing that sometimes he would look over at them or nod his head, but saying it didn't seem like he was trying to sway the jury one way or another. There were others in the documentary who claimed that Combs had an entire PR team working outside the courthouse, making sure to speak with bloggers and creators, pushing their narrative into the public consciousness. The jury, by the way, wasn't sequestered during the trial. Some in the docuseries wondered if, despite their best efforts, could have been influenced improperly by the discourse going on around them. Elizabeth, these 2 jurors speaking out there, what stood out to you about their comments? Does anything that they say, in your opinion, affect the verdict?
Yeah, so this was so fascinating. You very rarely hear from jurors talking publicly, especially about such a high-profile trial like this, especially on camera. So I think that was a really.
I bet you they got paid, but anyway.
For them to be able to get these 2 jurors to come on camera. I think it spoke to two things we saw in the trial. So the first juror, the younger female juror, had talked about, I think, the issue of what she saw as a lack of credibility or the evidence that was being presented. One of the things that she talked about was when Capricorn Clark, who had worked for Diddy for a number of years, came on the stand. She had talked about, her allegations were that she was kidnapped, that she was forced to go with Diddy when Diddy allegedly wanted to, commit physical harm upon Diddy. And one of the things that the juror had said was that she found some credibility issues with Capricorn Clark, that her testimony was overly emotional, but she was testifying to things that happened a decade ago. So it goes to sort of the issue of credibility. And also one of the things that she had said was, that video of him and Kathy in the hallway was devastating, but domestic violence, DV, was not one of the charges. So I think it kind of spoke to the issue that some of the jurors had of, jurors love black and white evidence. They love videos, they love photos, they love sort of that being caught red-handed moment. So if DV was one of the charges, obviously I think he would have been convicted just based on that video. But I think she kind of spoke to the issue of, at least in the jurors' eyes, and what we saw from the verdict was, where was that evidence of coercion in terms of trafficking, sort of that physical evidence? At least they didn't see it from what the verdict appeared. And then the other juror, who was an older gentleman, had talked about the nature of the relationship between Cassie and Diddy. And I thought that was really fascinating, because one of the things he had said was, we heard testimony from her about how difficult this relationship was, but she kept going back. So one of the things he had said was, if you don't like something, you get out. And I think that kind of speaks to maybe the difficulty that some of the jurors had of understanding the nuance between two people in this kind of volatile relationship. I know, the trial had experts to come and testify about the emotional ways that can play out, but I think that spoke to two themes: the nature of the evidence, and then also difficulty in kind of understanding the back and forth relationship and why Cassandra Ventura would go back, given how she was being treated.
Well, we say all this to say it's not surprising.
Have to, because I know you covered the story during the trial, and I know you remember with the jury selection early on, they were looking for jurors that had no idea, ironically, who Diddy was, right?
And that was Cap. Everybody know who Diddy is. Yeah, go ahead.
The Indian guy that they had in the documentary didn't know who he was. But the other lady, the young girl, did. And she was a fan. She grew up in the era. She didn't like Diddy, but she loved his music. Why would you have somebody like that on the jury? If she expressed that at first. Those two jurors, and then they were, why I think they used those jurors for the documentary is to identify that it was a tester trial, because they wasn't supposed to pick that black girl, for real. And the Indian guy really just didn't like Cassie, and forget about him knowing who Diddy was. His culture, they shun women like Cassie. So it was easy to have him. And they made sure they get someone in New York that had those type of values for this trial. I thought it was brilliant to bring those two specific jurors in this documentary. That's all.
Yeah, that's dope. They was most definitely in it. It was most definitely some of the two of the jurors that was in the documentary. Keisha says maybe she was scared of him since he was blowing up cars. Maybe so. Let's go.
That Sean Combs and his team are not happy about this, okay? Which now we go back to the C&D letter, the cease and desist letter that Combs' lawyers sent to Netflix's chief legal officer. That's what I want to focus on now. Okay, so according to attorney Michael Tremonti, they had already sent a cease and desist letter to the streaming service in July of 2024. This is before Combs was even indicted. But now they send this new letter on December 1st, the day before the documentary was set to be released, and essentially calling it a hit piece. Quote, first, Netflix is promoting...
Yes, Diddy team is most definitely fighting back. They done sent out a cease and desist letter to Netflix.
The program as a...
My hair. This that happened after this that are happening right now, that even though we're going to continue watching this, it's so irrelevant for right now. This cease and desist, it doesn't matter. What I do want to short pivot, and then I'm going to drop because my eyes are burning, and I'm going to wake up and watch this documentary again, thanks to my hair. Keisha, Michelle, you said Diddy showed his true colors in making a band, so things being said about him don't seem too far-fetched. I'm glad that Babs was in the documentary too. They talked about the cheesecake. They didn't have Freddie P in the documentary though. It was proven 3 years ago, that cheesecake wasn't for Diddy. Did you know that, man?
It was for Beyonce.
That's all I wanted you to know. That it's crazy work, this industry, okay? I gotta go.
Absolutely. All right.
That shit, great
Thanks for coming up. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Anytime. Bye-bye now.
Already. All right, bet. Yeah, so yeah, man, we got Trish most definitely to come up with her New York version, you know, and her know it, you know, from what's going on, because she covers this thing too. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Yeah, I most definitely knew that the cheesecake wasn't for Diddy. It was actually for Beyonce. But let's let them tell us about this cease and desist level. Let's go.
Documentary is fundamentally misleading. In truth, the program is a hit piece. It was conceived and produced by Curtis James Jackson, aka 50 Cent, whose irrational fixation on destroying Mr. Combs' reputation is a matter of public record. The evidence of Mr. Jackson's vicious animus against Mr. Combs is overwhelming. He's been trolling Mr. Combs on the internet and social media for years and has made a career of attempting to defame, belittle, and provoke Mr. Combs and turn the public against him. We provide ample evidence of Mr. Jackson's avowed hatred of Mr. Combs in our prior cease and desist letter dated July 3rd, 2024. And since that time, Mr. Jackson's determination to take Mr. Combs increased dramatically. Simply put, there is no one less to view any aspect of Mr. Combs' life and legacy through a fair and objective lens, given Mr. Jackson's central role in the project and his declared objective.
Yeah, he made them go, but Beyonce was in the studio recording at that time, and she basically wanted the cheesecake, and that's why he ordered them to go get it, Keisha.
Disgracing Mr. Combs, Netflix cannot honestly market the program as a documentary, as that term falsely suggests it is based on facts. Instead, the program is based on fabrications born from Mr. Jackson's personal vendetta against Mr. Combs. For this reason alone, Netflix must withdraw the program. Now, to be clear, recently, 50 Cent, who's been doing a media tour for this, has said, I don't have any hate against Sean Combs. I've actually worked with and employed his son. So he tried to beat back against that narrative. Now, according to Tremonti, Netflix had actually been in talks with Combs to make a show about him before the sudden cratering of his career. Quote, in or about 2023, CEO Ted Sarandos proposed that Netflix produce a documentary about Mr. Combs. However, Mr. Combs rejected the proposal when Mr. Sarandos insisted he give up creative control. Thus, the choice of Ms. Jackson to produce the program was Netflix's vindictive response to that rejection, an attempt by Netflix and Mr. Sarandos to ensure a one-sided character assassination rather than a balanced and accurate portrayal. Now, Elizabeth, you know about C&D letters, right? Very common in the media industry. This idea that this isn't journalism, this is a hit piece, this is based on fabrications. What do you take away from this letter? Is there let's start with this part, this idea that it can't positively be called, it can accurately be called a documentary, it's improper.
Yeah, it's surprising that they tried to get out in front of this and tried to persuade Netflix not to come forward with it. I think it's an interesting argument because what they're claiming is, Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, has had a long-standing, animosity against Diddy and sort of vice versa. And because he's at the helm,
they have. And if you think that 50 saying he don't got no problem with Diddy is the truth, is something wrong with you, they've been having a long-standing beef. Just to let you know.
This can't be taken seriously. This should sort of be seen as propaganda. And one of the things that Netflix hit back with was, yes, he's the executive producer. He doesn't necessarily have creative control. And that's something we know, that just because you're the producer on a project doesn't mean that you...
Which is basically kind of what Gene Deal spoke to when she said that 50 don't got, when he said that lady told him that 50 don't got as much power with this documentary as you think he got.
The final creative say over, what the tone of the piece is going to be, how it's going to be depicting somebody. So it makes sense that they would use their argument. They're trying, and there's multiple arguments within the cease and desist letters about why they allege this is improper. So I wasn't surprised that they tried to use that argument. And again, like you said, 50 Cent has been the public face of this. He's been doing interviews about it since the documentary dropped. So I don't I'm not surprised that they use it. I don't think it's necessarily the strongest argument to be made because, as you know, there's so many people that have their hands on this type of project, especially, one as lengthy as this. Just because he's the producer on it doesn't necessarily mean he has sort of final control of how it's going to come out. And also remember, it's Netflix. They produce esteemed and established documentaries for years and years. So I don't think all the people that are involved in a piece like this are going to, put it out with sort of a propaganda lens or, this view to try to take Sean Combs down. The director of the piece had said, we wanted to be able to give the interviewees a chance to speak their truth and talk about their experiences.
Okay, let me go to the second argument in the cease and desist letter and get your take on it. Second, Mr. Jackson's malice towards Mr. Combs is exacerbated by the payments he apparently offered to those who agreed to appear in the program. No serious studio would distribute a documentary in which the subjects were paid to offer testimonials consistent with the producer's bias against the subject. For this reason also, Netflix must withdraw the program. Now, to be clear, Netflix has disputed that anyone was paid for their participation, and there's lots of news programs who refuse to pay participants for their interviews, but you do wonder, are there any actual legal limitations here, Elizabeth? What do you think?
Yeah, so that's true. So Netflix had come out and said nobody was paid for this documentary. That's the viewpoint. Like you said, there's many news organizations that refuse to pay for interviewees just because it kind of goes to the credibility of the news organization. I think there's a little bit of a fine line between, your news coverage and long form documentaries. There are some entertainment companies and production companies out there that will pay interviewees depending on how much, or that will pay for access to certain materials, photos, videos, releases, things like that. But a lot of them don't because, as you said, it sort of goes to the issue of credibility. So here, Netflix is saying we did not pay anyone. And, we haven't really seen evidence put forward yet by Combs's team that they have. So, I think, again, makes sense that they would try to use that argument. But again, even if some interviewees have been paid, I don't think that necessarily scrapes away at the integrity of the project. I think it's just case by case. Some companies pay for interviewees, some don't. Here Netflix is saying they didn't. So, that's, you kind of have to take what both sides are saying at face value.
Okay, let's go into the third argument. So the cease and desist letter's third argument arguably might be maybe its strongest. The claim that Netflix broke copyright laws by using media that didn't belong to them. Quote, Netflix is poised to publish content.
We said a while ago, let's see what Law and Crime say about it.
Including intimate personal information that it obtained in violation of the Copyright Act, Mr. Combs' privacy rights, and in breach of numerous non-disclosure, non-disparagement, and intellectual property agreements about which Netflix is or should be aware. Example, it appears that Netflix possesses and intends to rebroadcast portions of video recordings of Mr. Combs that are his property, but which employees and independent contractors illicitly disclosed to Netflix in violation of binding contractual prohibitions against such disclosure. By distributing video recordings exclusively owned by Mr. Combs and or entities owned or controlled by Mr. Combs without authorization, Netflix would be subject to liability for copyright infringement under the Copyright Act. Elizabeth, is there any grounds to this? Because let me tell you,
let's go.
Infringement, that's where the numbers can go up. That is where you can get into.
That's where the money at. You know what I'm saying? Did they break copyright, or did they use this footage illegally?
Serious payments. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I agree this is probably their strongest argument they set forth. I was kind of surprised they didn't place it as sort of the first argument within the cease and desist, because usually the rule is for a motion or cease or desist or any legal document, you start out with the strongest argument first and kind of work your way down. But right, so that's the thing that they're claiming, is that this usage of the footage of him speaking to his attorneys and having these conversations violated copyright, privacy, and also various agreements that they say the videographers signed, NDAs, non-disparagement clauses, things like that. I think that's the strongest argument. And again, there's still a question mark in the air because it hasn't been proven who ultimately has the rights to this footage. I would venture to say that in most cases, if you are an individual employing a videographer to film yourself, the person who, the videographer and the person who's filming likely has signed rights over to the employer. That's how it usually works. So if Sean Combs does indeed have the rights to this footage, and it was obtained by people behind the documentary without the proper licenses, I think there could be a valid claim for copyright here. However, if it can be proven that, the videographer obtained rights to this footage, if he obtained a license, he's able to transfer it over to the people behind the documentary, then I think...
Now they speaking on the whole documentary, Yana.
strong argument could be made in their favor as well. I think if this does play out and if there is litigation filed, I think it's going to come forward who ultimately has the rights to this video. Netflix keeps saying the video was submitted to them and they obtained it legally. So if that's the case, then is there, again, a license, is there a release that was given to them by the videographer? We know it didn't come from Sean Combs, so I feel like that would be the only real scenario, is that somehow the videographer was able to obtain rights to it and then grant it over to them.
Well, look, Combs and his lawyers, they're demanding this entire series be wiped from the streaming service. Quote, to mitigate further damage and avoid legal action in connection with the concerns we've raised, Netflix must immediately withdraw the program. Prior to any future publication, Netflix must verify that each and every statement Mr. Combs intends to publish is true and not made in violation of any contractual obligations or legal duties, must conduct a thorough investigation to determine whether it is in possession of the videos or any other unlawfully obtained media, must immediately return the videos or any other unlawfully obtained media to the undersigned counsel, and must immediately cease and desist from any use or dissemination of the foregoing content. Now, in a statement to Variety on Tuesday, a Netflix spokesperson said, quote, the project has no ties to any past conversations between Sean Combs and Netflix. The footage of Combs leading up to his indictment and arrest were legally obtained. This is not a hit piece or an act of retribution. Curtis Jackson is an executive producer, but does not have creative control. No one was paid to participate. Okay, we'll see where this goes. Elizabeth Woolite, thank you so much for taking the time. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that's all we have.
And they said nobody was paid to participate. That kind of goes with why they probably didn't pay Gene Deal, guys. If you haven't took time to double tap that screen, we 17 likes away from 200 on that like button, man. Please double tap that screen or click those three dots, hit that thumbs up, man. It most definitely helps out the channel, and most definitely subscribe if you are new, guys. So that was pretty much everything I know when it comes to like the legal side, of the this documentary. I covered a lot of it. So the contract in the NDA is null because of non-payment. Well, kinda, just because Diddy's, you're gonna have to watch it back. But Diddy's team is basically saying that the people who videoed this did not complete, their obligations, which basically, that's why they didn't get paid. Whatever it was that Diddy and them had outlined for them to do, Diddy are saying that basically they did not fulfill it, in which, that makes it, that's why they didn't get paid. So, in other words, Diddy and them, and some about some copyright stuff. But I ran it all down within the video. He got a part of me. It's 6:17. I'm tired. Trish made it go longer than it was supposed to go. I had Trish up here. I kept pausing and she kept on talking and dragged the show on for these 3 hours and 30 minutes, 20 minutes. I was hoping to be out here in like 2.5 hours or something like that, 2 hours. Either way, all the facts are here, Yana. You feel free to run the video back and it'll most definitely put everything into perspective for you. But it's something to do with copyright, and then with them not fulfilling the obligations that were laid out by Diddy and them, which was the reason why they didn't get paid. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it's a lot going on with this documentary, guys. I fulfilled everything in the title, with 50 Cent basically saying 50 Cent basically not disclosing, where they got it from until recently. Hold on, they say you and Trish are good together at this content. Well, she covered this content, the Diddy content as well. Y'all know I covered it too. And she has watched the documentary 45 million times, and she basically came up and talked to me earlier about it, and about the documentary, asked me if I watched it, things of that nature. So it was most definitely good, that she popped out, and then she filled in a couple of blanks, of the things that I didn't know she knew. Shout out to everybody that contributed something to the channel. We most definitely hit the goal, guys. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. I see them. Thank y'all, man. Thank you, Jay Stevens, man. Thank everybody that sent a gift or a super chat or a super sticker, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, man, it is plenty of moving parts. If you got here late, you can most definitely click on the video, run it back. Just go to my main main channel, run it back, and see what you think about it, guys. I gave everything that I've been seeing, you know, as far as what's trending with this Diddy situation. You know, NDAs, you know, all this type of stuff has been going on. You know, they want them basically to remove the whole series offline, off Netflix, take it down. You know, Diddy's team is putting up a hard fight. Some of Diddy's lawyers are mad at him, Mark and Filio being one, about being recorded without their permission. But like we know, New York is a one-party consent state, so you know you don't have to have the yes from the attorneys for them to be basically recorded. But yeah, man, let them tell it. They are upset. I believe that this is what Steven is create and gets a story from an uncensored person and then puts it in ESPN about a player, whether it's true or not. What does the play against? What does that play against to do? Okay, I bet. Shout out to you. Already, Miss Pooh Bear. Thank you, Miss Pooh Bear. You already know what it is. Keisha, shout out to you, man. I appreciate it, man. You know, kind of a spur of the moment thing to understand that this wasn't planned at first. I probably did this like an hour before I went live. This was just really supposed to be like a test run, you know, to see how things work, because I ain't been doing much over here. Had to find me something to do over here. So I said, man, why not? You know, why not run it and see what it does? You know what I'm saying? And hey, man, we did pretty good. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. You know, I'm gonna most definitely stick to doing this. You know, I kind of like it, you know, doing the hip-hop version of my other show, you know, and just keeping it straight content over here when it comes to the music world and things that pop up with musicians and, you know, people in the music industry, you know, things that are going on, you know. Because I've been telling y'all what's trending is coming, and it's most definitely here. And I'm gonna probably do it like this, man. But I'm gonna go ahead and go to sleep because I am tired, guys. I've been on the internet all day. It's time for me to get some shut eye. I most definitely catch y'all tomorrow, man. Shout out to everybody that rocked out tonight. Yeah, man. It's early for y'all, but it's late for me. I'm just now finna go close my eyes. So if you like this version of entertainment and you're new to this channel, man, make sure you subscribe. You know, turn your notification bell on to all, because we'll most definitely keep bringing you the latest and breaking information when it comes to hip hop right here on this channel, man. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all be safe. Y'all be good. You know what I'm saying? I am gone, guys. Y'all already know what it is. Sidewalk Gang, checking out.
Hit that like button.
Haters gonna hate anyway, man.
Subscribe to the
This
channel.
in the lab live. Used to bake pies. Now I'm on YouTube on In the Lab Live. Hit the like button, yeah. Go ahead, subscribe. Ain't no telling what you see. It's gonna be a long ride. Better open up your eyes, cause we be in the bitch till 7 in the morning. Coffee in one hand and the sweet got me zoning. Blocking all the haters. Shout out my moderators. They make the show greater. Main reason why we made it. So up on the top, I can't see the ground. Got these niggas mad, they love when I was down. Now nigga up, and they can't tell me shit. Shout out to Scale Gang and all my people in this bitch. I got haters, I got friends, I got product, I got ends. If I ever get a play, I know they gon' hate me then. Still rolling in that lag slow, hotter than Tabasco. Don't matter what you buying, I can get you what you ask for. Hottest in the streets, really niggas can't compete. We be grinding while they sleep, yeah, 7 days a week. I ain't tripping on the docks, telling niggas come box, right, knock 'em out of socks. Boy, you must be smoking rocks. Hey,
This in the lab live, man. Subscribe to the channel, man.